They have not caught a single terrorist, a single gangster, a single smuggler, a single adulterer, a single guy who just dilutes milk. Give me some crime. You're stopping me with my 18-year-old daughter going to work out. One kid who's going to go play cricket. Some other mom dropping her daughter to a thing on a scooter. What the hell, yeah? The great thing about the Maharashtra police force is the humane way in which we communicate. Niche. So I do the Vijayakar just taught me. I put it 1 inch down. Niche. ठीक है. Niche. So already now we are not happy with each other. You know, it starts from there. I'm so toxic. I'm telling him you should not be in the police. I should be in the police. क्यों? ऐसा आपका body देख. आपका हाथ का development नहीं है, lat का development नहीं है, leg का development नहीं है. आप कितना squat मारता है, कितना deadlift मारता है. I'm asking him this, and he's so angry, but he does not answer. He's horribly unfit, yeah. To be honest.
I mean, yeah.
So I told him मैं आपको protect कर सकता, आप मेरे को कैसे protect करेगा? Very special episode for all of us. 100 years of Cyrus Says. No, it's not 100. It's about 10 years.
It's exactly 10 years.
It's exactly 10 years old.
March 21st, 2015, episode 1.
I'm going to just keep repeating. March 21st, 2015. It's like my third child. I have a Mikhail, I have a Maya. Now I have Cyrus Says. And one of the parents, of course, Mr. Amit Doshi. We've aged a lot in those 10 years, gone to many visits to the dentist, in his case, doctor in my case. But we want to look back at those 10 years. Lots of crews have changed, the places have changed, the studios have changed at least 3 times. Actually, more than that, because we used all famous.
Upstairs, we had 2 studios. We had our Agnello house. We had famous, a car, we had famous Mahalakshmi.
And we even used the home during the pandemic. I've used Alibag, I've used my office, I've used CNN IBN when I worked there.
You sat in my house and done this once.
I've done it from your house more than once. In fact, that curly tails girl I remember was in your house.
Was it? I think I couldn't. I had to leave the room because there was no place, like basically no place for me to sit without sitting in the back of the frame.
No, but I remember I needed you because I couldn't put anything on. So it was very embarrassing because our tech was Amit and I was the talent, and between the two of us we were really struggling that day. But those are the funny stories that we look back at. But 10 years.
Yes.
And there was no real plan except the fact that he wanted to start, we've said this many times, but repeat it in brief. He wanted to start the whole podcasting movement, which is now huge actually in India and growing as we speak. If you don't have a podcast, you look like someone who's not fit for society. Everybody has a podcast. I
think that is true.
And you're the cause of that.
Well, no, not really. I think, honestly, I think YouTube is the cause of that more than us.
That's true. All you need is a mic.
Yeah, no, because I think when we first started, we started an audio podcast, right?
Yeah, and you fought for that, I remember. You were very clear that we'll stay audio.
Well, I mean...
You're like a test cricket lover. I won't go from red ball to white ball.
I mean, I don't think that I was that kind of this, but I did think that audio was the missing thing, right? Mm-hmm. And also, like, let's be honest, there's a production cost aspect to audio compared to video. Right now, we're sitting here. Besides us, we have 4 other people here. 3 other people will work on this show.
But 2 of them are tenants who can't get rid of. Yeah.
No, but 3 other people will work on this show. Whereas on audio, what it used to be is, there would be 1 person as a producer, 1 person audio editor, and that's it.
But even today on podcasts, 20-30% is audio, like audio consumed rather?
So I think there is still... So the thing is, honestly, the numbers are not that anymore.
We can lie, Amit. I don't think people will actually check.
No, but I mean, like, it's... no, but I mean, like, truth is truth, right? I mean, like, there's no... this, right? Like...
So just give a... I mean, just pull it out of your hat.
No, I can give you the, like, actual numbers, right? I mean, like, these are not, like, this. We do about... we do probably, like, a couple of 100,000 downloads a month on audio. 300, 400, something like that.
So worldwide, is it the same? There's a certain amount of audio files who love audio.
I think it depends market to market.
Driving, things like that.
Exactly.
I'm hoping when you're driving, you're doing audio.
Yeah, well, I hope so too.
I hope so, yeah.
That's not actually truly the case, though. There are a lot of people who are doing not doing audio. Huh? Somebody just told me they got into an accident because the rickshaw guy was essentially was scrolling through some videos and stuff that. Yeah. And who told me that? Like hurt their foot badly, right? Like had to get badly because the rickshaw guy was just scrolling through videos. Yeah. So I mean, like,
I wonder what was on his thing. What do you think? Urfi Javed?
No, it was your YouTube reel, YouTube shorts. That's what he told me.
Okay, but which short?
That I don't know the answer to.
I would love to know. Maybe it was erotic literature, which we are all fond of. But 10 years. 10 years is a long
10 years,
time.
yeah.
Honestly, at that point, I thought of it as a hobby. I didn't take it too seriously. Not in a bad way. I just thought it's a new thing. We'll try it and have a good time.
Exactly.
Had fun doing it. But didn't think of it as something that would last that long.
I honestly, 10 years is...
Yeah.
let's also this is the only show that has lasted 10 years, right? I don't think there's another Indian podcast which is anywhere close to this number of episodes or this length of duration, right?
What is that Arnab Goswami show?
That's not a podcast.
It is. It's a monologue.
But okay,
The
but
podcast can be monologue also.
that is, I guess, true. But it's not lasted 10 years. Republic started after we started.
That's fair. So in a sense, he's lasted, if you want to look at it that way. So, okay. So
No,
Cyrus Says a state, the avatar has not changed is what you're saying. It has actually. We have had so many versions.
So many different... each of them reflect their producer to some degree or the other.
Oh, by the way, we've had so many producers.
Is a...
Rest in peace. I can't even remember how many now.
Let me ask
Do you remember? Come on, challenge.
all right.
Each and every producer.
Okay, so number one, me. I started as the first producer of the show. Second, I want to say
Chavi.
May slash Chavi, kind of.
She was there for a few days.
She was there, but she was more of a co-host than a producer.
Oh, was
I think. I don't feel like
I should see the episodes. Huh?
there was when you think about a co-host, a producer role today compared to then, right? Then we were still trying to figure stuff out. But
Right.
she was more like, what should we talk about, that kind of stuff. She wasn't looking at the edit and making the episode upload and all that.
So
kind
she
of
was
thing.
She was trying to do the creatives for everything.
Correct, rather than
then
this.
May was the next one.
So I would say then May and Vagish were both around the same kind of time, right?
Okay.
Do you remember Vagish, the guy with who
Yes.
had the leopard shirt on?
Yeah. How can we forget him?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
What does he do now?
He's in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's an e-games commentator.
Oh, I thought McDonald's. Where do you go from here? Okay.
No, he's
He's an e-games commentator.
Yeah, so
Not
he
bad,
does.
Vagish.
Is Dota a game? Yeah. So he's a commentator for Dota.
So that means good money.
I would assume
They
so.
start here and look where they reach.
I would assume
Vagish
so.
is now almost a premier of a state or region of Canada. Well played.
Then I think I don't think Mali ever worked on this show. She was one of the other two early ones. Then we had
was a girl producer for a little while.
so then that probably was Mali.
Yeah, it was her.
Yeah.
I think, but very short, like a month or so.
Yeah, not for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah, like a fill-in.
She is now a pretty major pop star.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, she opened
Rapper,
for
no?
Ed Sheeran.
Is it rapper? Popper?
Pop, singer-songwriter. She
Yeah.
opened for Ed Sheeran
She
in
opened
Bangalore.
for Ed Sheeran.
But I think,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So
what you're
coming
talking
back to Mali, so now she's
So
big,
she's
and she
now-
lives in the UK.
about. No, she lives in
Chennai.
Chennai
Yeah.
Bangalore.
Okay.
And I think maybe even Bombay sometimes. But she's like...
Can't we get her as a guest now that she's famous?
I
Well, she was
to her.
nobody then, but now.
Next time when she's in Bombay, we'll talk to her
Yeah.
and try and get her in.
I'm sure she
then-
won't come.
Let's
She
see.
produced the show. She'll be like, no way.
Then we had Naveen, I think, after that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. That Abbas was after Naveen.
Naveen was, Abbas was after Naveen.
Abbas was so late, I can't remember. So then Naveen?
Then Naveen, then
Naveen-
Abbas.
Naveen came as a producer, but he was already a stand-up comic.
So we had
Or
done
doing
a
that.
show for Jio7 or 7 at the time called Eat, Sleep, Joke, Repeat.
Right. I remember
Which
this
you
one.
were on that show
Yeah,
as
I
well.
went a
I think you
couple
did
of times,
like this as well, right? And Naveen was one of the contestants on that show.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a smart guy. He was. I also found out he was looking for a full-time gig.
We did that IIT show somewhere down the line with Sanjay
Yes.
Jha and Shazia Ilmi.
Shazia Ilmi.
Which was a great show. I had a
Yes.
great time, but he was the anchor for that as well.
Oh, was he
He
really?
opened
Okay.
and he spoke. And
Okay. So
that's
he
the
was
first time I
producing
knew
at
he
that
was a
time.
stand-up comedian. I had no idea.
Okay.
He just
all
seemed
right.
like an angry man who hated the train. Every morning. I mean, it would be the same story. Yeah.
But yeah, after Naveen, Abbas. After Abbas.
So Naveen was sort of on time. Abbas was never on
never
time.
on time. Yes.
It's scary. And he used to live in Baikala, which is close to. I would come to
He
the
moved to
church gate.
Bandra. He still wasn't on time, dude.
That was later, but I'm saying coming from Baikala, coming from church gate, almost equidistant, coming to Bandra. And I'd be checking with him all the time, and they'd be like, I'll be there, and then...
I don't understand. This is, I guess we can get into this to some degree or the other, right? Your punctuality or your level of punctuality, right, is intimidating to most people, right? I mean, like...
She's making it sound like a negative.
it's not negative.
How dare you be so much on time?
No, but I mean, like, it is...
Show some concern.
It is the kind of thing that when you... Like,
But I'll tell you why. I used to do one day at that point where I was working at CNI. We were doing 4 days of that week that wasn't.
Right.
We were doing vignettes at that point. And so I would come and go.
Huh.
So I would come for a 2-hour window.
And then
so
you
that
have to
explained
go,
to me, I'll come in by 10 and I'll leave by 11, but I have to reach back by 12ish.
I get that. And no, listen, punctuality is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? But it is like, so give you an example, right? Raj Ganpat, the guest who you've had coming forward in the next coming weeks.
Yeah.
He was here on time yesterday, right? But his PR people yesterday, they and Kavita had like a 20... So there was a 20-minute discussion over the fact that, no, Cyrus will be on time. You please make sure that he is not coming here at 10:30, quarter 11.
I think that makes me sound like some kind of villain only. They keep telling them, sir, please come on time.
No, but it is a thing that I think is like...
But see, I remember Abbas is not coming on time.
I know.
The rest may have also not come on time too much, but Abbas stood out.
No, but Abbas stood out.
He was the best.
We have a general, I think...
he never had that frenetic look on his face.
He was always,
He just seems to be so zen-like. I mean, he's the kind of guy in battle who you'd want around you because, everybody's dying. He'll be like, it's fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
Of course.
True.
Yeah.
Let's see. After Abbas, who do we have? During the pandemic, we had Antariksh, right?
Yeah.
Abbas to Antariksh, we went directly?
I think so because Abbas quit and went to Powai, then came back. And ironically, Silvery lives in Powai.
That is true.
So they passed the baton up and down a couple of times.
After Antariksh, I think we went to Sparsh directly. I don't think there was anybody in the middle.
I hope if we've forgotten you, please, we apologize. We're both in our 50s. It's difficult to remember things.
Then we...
Vinay! You forgot Vinay!
Oh, I did forget Vinay.
Vishnu gave us Vinay. By the way, we didn't remember the name. Vinay, who is now head of Times of India. He owns Bennett and Coleman.
So I think Vinay was in between Abbas and Antariksh.
Yeah, something like that.
He was
Sparsh came after Vinay.
Sparsh came after Antariksh.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
The two founding fathers, we have no idea. That's how 10 years passed. No clue. Vinay came after Antariksh and just before Sparsh.
What, Antariksh stopped producing?
Yeah,
he moved to Creative Solutions.
I can't remember. He
started working on the brand content stuff. Antariksh started working on brand content for us, so he stopped producing this. And then we got Vinay over here, then we got Sparsh over here.
This is the podcast of two old men trying to remember the old days. This is the worst podcast of the year, considering we've had some bad ones.
Yeah.
But so many names, and then Sparsh.
And then Sparsh, and then Rishi.
Oh, then Rishi took over temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, it was not that short a period of time, 4-5 months at least.
4-5 months?
Yeah, it was like...
personnel became less, so there was also, it may not have been out of choice. And then you invested in this young man, Prithvi.
Then Prithvi came
every day is like a case of hemorrhoids for me. I feel pain in my ass. Every single day.
Okay, I don't know quite how to respond to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably...
He's got his own way. He's an enthusiastic young man. We cannot kill his spirit. That would be a crime. But let's say I am 53 and difficult to train.
It is sometimes.
He's trying to always ride the tiger for some reason.
I think it gets challenging.
I can imagine.
With a lot of...
the thing it's a good thing for them because he's only 26, 27 years old. That he works with us and he's meeting some famous people, some not so famous who may become famous later also, And after some time, I think that's a good ground to begin with when you're young, work in this kind of environment.
I think it is. I think it's a good job to have, right? Just generally, I think that working at IVM is a good place to work at, not just like in terms of Cyrus Says, right? But the other shows that we kind of work on as well, right? You meet people who are in finance and marketing and like, all
you said off camera we'll talk only about Cyrus Says and not about IVM, and now you made it all about IVM and just threw there's the show. It's lying on the floor and people are stamping on it.
I was saying that it is good for them to have all aspects of exposure.
Yeah. No, so I'm saying poor Prithvi because we rib him a lot and everybody joins in now, so I'm feeling a little bad sometimes.
Okay.
I go back and I feel bad. I have these feeling bad moments. But I don't know whether we cross the line where we just, all jumping on him. But he seems okay for now. But he's a rapper with a lot of angst. So all his lyrics will be about me when he becomes famous. He'll be like, BC Broacha, MC Broacha. And he's never abused in his rap till he met me. Now it's only abuse. Teri Maki, Teri Banki, And Prithvi, biggest name in India. There's Lata Mangeshwar, Prithvi. They'll be straight. Nobody in between. What a connection also to come out with.
That sounds very...
I know. Leave it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know
we don't want legal issues because this can go straight there.
Yes, it could.
Yeah.
Yes, it could. Okay, all right.
Okay, we need to. We'll run out of time. We need to get into all these. It's impossible. 1,500-1,600 episodes. It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't talk about all the different episodes or this. But I guess, like a good way to approach it is just think about what do you remember most from these shows, right? Like, what are some of your key things?
Also, the memory bank is difficult in the last 5-6 years. Very difficult to remember anything unless you shake it.
Yeah.
So once you tell me, Rahul Bose, it immediately comes to mind and we start discussing it.
Yeah.
So Rahul, why I always talk about him is because his the perception of him, because of the movies he's done, is, and he is that also, super serious, intense, staring into camera with a lot of intensity, like a Bengali Al Pacino, and all that is there. But what he revealed on our show, I think for the first time, I don't think because it's a one-hour format and all, is how funny he is.
Yeah.
What a great mimic he is. What a great sense of humor he has. And he ribbed me a lot. I think people also enjoy when the person gives me a little bit of a boot licking, a boot lagging, a boot legging, something.
So we found that to be like a clear indicator of what episode works and what doesn't. Basically, do they not just stand up to you, but do they give it back to you, right? Like like Baman's episode recently, or
so all these guys who know you, they have a familiarity where they can do all that. Also, they have inside stories which are true.
But even like who was the girl who came in recently?
Oh, she was great.
Really
Ada.
Threw it. She really threw it back at you.
I almost felt like a sister. I hate to say that. It's like almost we have some blood relation because we were both talking rubbish without winking.
Yeah,
it was just non-stop. We could just go into another. I mean, she made up a film in the end which was politically incorrect to say and all that. And I was actually playing along. I was like, we could have gone on about that fake film for 15 minutes.
No, but I think that I think that leads to a good kind of interaction just generally, right? Like I think the idea that you're going to bounce off each other is fun.
No, so again, coming from Rahul Bose, I think it's just revealing the fact that there's that side to him. I think that's great when we get that with anyone. People have one perception, you see the other side where they're, something totally different, unexpected sometimes. Richa Chadda, of course, now I think she's all over the place so people can see that, but she's hilarious.
She is.
And you can't get one up on her.
No, you can't at all.
And then we brought her lovely husband along for the ride, and then I realized both of us were bullying him. He's a really sweet guy. I mean, he's also very funny and very nice and all that, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. That was fun to watch. I think I think like if you think about like the kinds of people that we've had on, right? Like I think that one of the interesting things about the show just generally, right, is that there's been an attempt to get and again, as obviously we've done 1600 episodes, right? So it's not 100% by any means of the imagination, but try to get people who can speak well and intelligently about the kinds of things that they wanted, the kinds of things that they do, right? And I think that is again something that leads to a good show, right? I think that people who speak in PR speak, right, who just have these kinds of fixed things that they want to say over and over again, they typically lead to boring episodes.
True.
Right?
But we don't have I wish we had one of those casting couches where we can check them out properly and find out what they really like. It's a little difficult to do. But so it's always like an unknown quantity. Because no matter what, people do change once the camera is rolling. And, and suddenly they realize, as you said, the fear factor is there. I'm going to be careful with what I say and it stays forever. So Richa, be careful. Ada, be careful. Rahul, be careful. He refuses to call Mumbai, Bombay. I mean, he calls Bombay, not Mumbai. And that's a big thing with him. For example,
that is a
big thing with you also. But no,
it's not. I honestly, I've always believed that it's both. I've always used
for me, it's
both.
a language thing. If you speak in a certain language, like in Hindi, it'll be neither Bombay or Mumbai becomes Bombay.
Okay.
Because that's the way you say it in Hindi. If you talk to a Hindi-speaking guy back in the past, now of course people are scared, so they follow rules. It's like, which is really stupid.
I think it's just like the idea.
You waste too much energy on this. Also.
On this kind of stuff. Namings doesn't matter that much. It also, honestly, even the sticking to Bombay in the face
the reverse of that
is also
to fight the oppressors who are forcing you to say Mumbai. So they can get a better fight.
It's just this is not what this is no hill to die on.
There's the girl child we can talk about. There's so much.
Exactly right. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's the name of a place. Names of places changes all the times. Who cares?
But anyway, coming back to the guests. So there's Richa, there's Ada, who you mentioned, which is very recent. But again, I apologize because whatever we remember, we remember. Not like we've written some names down on a paper here and we're going to look at it from time to time. But
do you remember? I without looking at the paper, do you remember the song by Dennis?
But I don't remember the song so much. But I remember Dennis and the fact that he made up the.
So I came across it recently because
Dennis Tarapur wala, musician and more.
He's I think a writer /
all that.
I think he has a PR agency.
He owns a PR agency. I think his wife runs, and we used to swim together. At the YMCA.
He was okay. All right. Yeah. Now he's a really fun, interesting guy. But I thought there was a Cyrus Says channel before the existing channel. And I found it recently, and it had the video of the song that he did.
It's still there?
It's still there. So we'll figure out a way to kind of get on this channel.
Here it is. I don't know. If they played the song, great. If they didn't, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, no, so I don't know if we can play
Copyright issue.
So it's the song is called Bawaji in Mumbai, which is sung to the tune of Werewolf in London.
So it's an obvious lift, is what you're saying.
I don't know.
We're making sure we can't play it now because you're giving you the reasons.
Well, I mean, like we'll try. We'll put it up as a separate piece. What happened
to that 20-second rule that we used to have at CNN and IVM?
There's no second.
That's all gone. But you can play 10 seconds of footage or 15 seconds of footage. And
there was never a 20-second.
Even with the IPL, you could play a little bit of footage and then pull out.
There was never a 20-second rule.
We made up the rule?
You made up a rule.
Basically, no, we didn't make up. Somebody made up.
So the idea with that kind of stuff is that believe me, I've done so much study on this shit. Yeah. And everybody in our office hates me because I do not allow them to use music. I do not allow them to use video clips. I don't allow them to use anything because there is no such thing. We all live in India and think we obey America's laws.
No, I remember it happened to us suddenly sometime 10 years back where I think Yash Chopra's office sent a thing. It wasn't like a notice, it was like a warning. Like you're using it happily for 10-15 seconds, some song in the background, which made sense to match that lyric with.
But not allowed to do.
Never the full song, never close to the full song.
Doesn't matter, dude. Fair use only applies to very narrow circumstances in the Indian context. It's not the way it applies in America. In America, the standard is much looser. It needs to be transformative, which means it makes it a new piece of content. As long as it's transformative, you're allowed to use it.
So I can take the old content and change 2 words.
It needs to become something new. It needs to either be commentary or it needs to become something new. Right? So as long as it's transformative, right? Like
what Donald Trump has done with politics. It's now something new.
I guess that's
the whole experience is different.
Sure. That's one way to do it. But it needs to transform. Like, so for example, if you take a song and you remix it, that's transformative. If you take a song as is and play it as background music, that's not transformative. That's you're using the same piece of content, right? In that sense. So
sorry guys, we won't be able to show you the song. Amit has convinced me it's a waste of time. We've had lawyers on.
We've had lawyers on. We had
plenty.
We had Damle on, I think. We had Abha on, I think, at one point.
We had a regular who then went to Canada. And worked with the...
Abhay.
Abhay
Anturkar. Briefless. He was a fan, right? He was, I think, I got first commenting fan back, right? The first
one of the early guys.
Yeah.
We're going back to 2015.
It was interesting. I met a few of the more recent people like Himisha and Shraddha and
those are our first family of fans.
So all these folks, but they're actually more recent. But like Abhay was very old.
Briefless Attorney was the first thing I remember.
Was the first one. The other one was this girl who came to. She was from Australia. She came and worked at OML for a couple of years and now has moved back to Australia.
Because of the show. She couldn't take the show and she left.
Yeah, but
it was okay for a year or two.
She really enjoyed Indian comedy so much and she used to comment all the time. I remember that girl as well.
What was the name? You won't remember the handle? The handles were all interesting. That's why we remember them. Like
exactly. I can't.
Nobody really had a name like Pooja. There's always something more.
But no, it was interesting. The fan interactions have always been interesting on this show. I think just in terms of like even from day one, right? Even
I like the live format only because of that. Because they were always pointing out everything that was going on the show, good, bad, and ugly, and it was hilarious from time to time.
So I think that it is something to consider, right? Like maybe in the next year we're able to bring at least like some aspect of the lives back. The challenge with the lives, right? And again, this is a little under the hood, if you will, but we're being honest with people, right? Like basically the truth of the matter is that YouTube has now become our primary distribution thing. And content which is shot on real cameras just works a lot better than cameras which are shot on webcams. That's just unfortunately the truth of
Unless, of course, Lenovo decides to come on board as sponsor. In this case, we don't give a damn. We'll put all 6 computers right in front of you and that's how we'll shoot it. Right, bro? Because hum log sab, what's the word that rhymes with Bundy? In Hindi? Okay. No, don't answer that. Leave it.
I'm not going to answer
We don't have an attorney present. Be very careful.
No, but I think that but otherwise that was a big benefit of lives. I used to love the idea of a live. I love the idea of like,
I feel more radio format with the live thingy.
I love
and then you bring in the local point of the day, the small things which, just you and me get irritated by.
I know. I love that stuff. The idea of like a daily kind of this, right? I mean, that also was a great time to...
Our little membership, they really got into it correctly. They were very, very sharp. So like Silvery and his geography, when he would set up any stories, his geography was always a challenge. I mean, even if normal places like a Kanpur, he starts saying it wrong. And then don't even think about, way back, Sea-Town, with somebody got murdered, blah, blah, blah. He's setting up a story. Yeah, it's all over the place in geography. Can't say it correctly, doesn't know where it is. And then they started picking up on that. And he started losing confidence on geography. So his presentation for anything geographic was going to be an end in failure. And we were all anticipating it,
I mean, like, honestly, man, Antariksh was a lot of fun to have on the show. He used to do, he used to pull some antics. I think that there was definitely a certain amount of kind of just like, he brought personality to it, I think, in a way that, like...
I wish you could afford him. Unfortunately, no. Yeah.
I think that is... Well,
also, don't forget, Amit, you and me we don't look it, but we are actually a little older than some of these guys we work with. And so it's nice to have them on because there's suddenly this, there's a dissonance in the thought process, in the references, in what's going on, and their hepness versus our lack of hepness. I like that, it's always fun to see.
There was this, so she did not produce your show, she produced another show.
Yeah.
And I think mispronounced Azruddin's name in like this kind of insane way, right?
Oh my God. Like more than mispronounced, you can tell they have no idea who the person is when they sing the name.
Yeah,
it's like Azruddin, it's just the way they say it.
Yeah.
And then you're taking offense. You're like, how dare you not know? Oh God, really?
No, but it's always fun to see that kind of, but you know what? I think that kind of generational mismatch.
He stumbled on IK Gujral. I'm saying he, as in Silvery, because there's an empty chair here. I remember IK Gujral reference came up.
He didn't know who he was, huh?
No idea. Yeah. I'm thinking Prime Minister for how many years back? It wasn't that.
It wasn't that long, but it was that long.
It
was that long. It was at this point 35 years ago, man. I mean, like...
And Silvery, and he was like repeating, sword man, you know how he repeats everything, sword man. I was like, so what is the freaking Prime Minister? I mean, what more do you have to do in this country to get respect?
Yeah. I mean, but I think that leads to like just fun, right? I think that generally when you talk to somebody younger,
I love the generational thing is super
but
fun.
even when you talk to someone older, right? Like Farooq Engineer's conversation you had was amazing, right?
It was fantastic.
And also I remember there was that the Bollywood writer, the elderly gentleman who you had like the first Hindi conversation with.
Who came from the States or something.
He came from the States. He was like Sunil Dutt's secretary or something like that.
Yeah.
His granddaughter used to work for us, or his grandniece used to work for us. Something like that.
He was fabulous, and
like,
then again, trying to piece that together.
So even like the kind of like talk to the older or talk to the really younger. I think that always leads to kind of like really fun stuff.
And then the blank stares when you say something which is generational, no idea. Just blank stares. It's so much fun.
It is.
And then we can't like bullies. We have to go on probing and asking questions.
That is...
I'm thinking a little toxic when it comes to sport. I just get very quickly,
So you get offended.
Not offended is a strong word.
You're like, how dare you not know? Dude, you've done this to me. How dare you not know?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I do get a little... I mean, oh my God. I mean, Kunal didn't know we had the Champions Trophy final that day. He said, what cricket is it? I was like, serious? India is playing a final? I mean, anywhere. I mean, you're on the internet all the time. You have no idea. There is a world where there's no news because the algorithm doesn't have anything about sport.
No, so
zero.
I don't know anything about... so I never see anything about cricket either.
So nothing comes up.
So I found out the WPL final was happening yesterday while it was on. I didn't know that was on yesterday. I was walking by the television, I saw it was on.
We've discussed WPL because of Century of Cricket. We've discussed all this. So we have on. You know it was on. You didn't know the final was on.
I didn't know the final was on that particular day. I knew the WPL starts and ends before the IPL
starts. That's more like sexism than anti-cricket. I would feel, boss, male cricket hai to theek hai. Female cricket hai to he doesn't know. I call this chauvinistic behavior, Amit Doshi. I call you out.
No, listen, dude. Well, I did not know. So I saw
Can you name 3 of the current WPL cricketers in the final?
No.
This is Delhi versus Mumbai?
No. I mean, I'm not
even
going to try.
The man of the match, woman of the match.
She was the India captain, right?
Correct.
She is the
British
or Australian lady.
No. The India captain. Can you name her? Who won the final and woman of the match?
I should be able to, but I cannot.
I'll give you a hint.
I think one of them was on our show at some point in time as well, like one of the...
Jemima was. Losing team.
Yeah. Oh, okay, she was on the losing
Delhi.
team. All right, yeah.
Although she's a Mumbaikar.
Okay.
I'm giving you the captain. I'll give you half the name. You finish it. Harmanjeet. Now, like this, you go through Chandigarh and give me every name it begins with Harman and find a different ending to it till you hit it correctly.
Isn't it Harmanjeet something?
No, it's not. It's Harmanpreet, captain.
Harmanpreet. Okay,
Harmanpreet Kaur.
Harmanpreet Kaur. Okay, all right.
Wow.
So, listen, dude. I mean, like,
You see what happened there? You see what happened there? You see the body language? It's just body language. It doesn't have. You're flexing.
Sure.
It's not words. It's just body language becomes all like, how did you not know?
I mean, like, listen, dude. I don't watch that much cricket. If you go beyond Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli,
you think that's funny?
I'm struggling
Today,
there.
my
as
good
well,
friend
right?
Vijayakar Kunal is shooting with Surya Kumar
Okay.
and Tilak Raj.
Okay.
Tilak Raj is the Mumbai now, the new face and Indian cricket T20 big name. And he says, I'm shooting with Surya Kumar Yadav and Tilak Ram. I said, who's Tilak Ram? He said, I don't know, there's a guy, Mumbai Indians. I said, oh, you mean like Tilak Raj, the hottest property in Indian T20 cricket at the moment, who plays for Mumbai Indians? Raj, Ram, same thing. No, it's not the same thing.
In defense of Kunal, I heard the name for the first time just a couple
You
of
didn't know?
You told me the name a couple of weeks ago when we were talking
And
about
it didn't ring a bell
Mumbai
also.
Indian. That's what I
Anyway,
found out.
this is the great thing about democracy. We have all different sort of perspectives.
Yeah, it's
and all
not.
that.
I don't watch that much. So I
Okay.
don't know that.
How does it
much.
matter? It's just cocktail conversation when you want to just show off. Okay, Prithvi's contribution to this show, as usual, is break. So
Time for
we'll
break.
take a quick break and hopefully get Kavita in for a
Let me
little
see
bit.
where she's at.
Because we need. There's one criticism we get, and I've got this a lot actually. I get it on
many
Insta.
dudes.
Too many, yeah. That not enough female, and honestly, Amit, both of us, we really want more females to come on the show.
We do.
But so if you can help us, because it sounds wrong to say this, but we'd like more ladies on the show. We're just not able to find them, or rather to get them to come.
Well,
sometimes,
to come on the show.
but we need to, the balance has to be redressed slightly.
So I think we need to. I think that there are things that we can do to just solve for this, right? And I think that honestly, we do reach out a lot, right? We talk to a lot of people.
But women are classy and they don't want to be on this show because
I
of me.
think
That's the way it is.
I don't know if it's
And also the fact that nobody knows the women's team captain's name. I mean, what are we? How can we show our face in public? Kripaya dhyan dijiye, Broacha Janata Party. Please listen, smash, share, and subscribe as soon as you can. We have to make Cyrus Says the biggest English language podcast in the country.
What is this break?
I have to do potty and then I will eat my breakfast in tuxedo.
Bhen chod.
What did you just say?
Madan Kumar Bhen chod.
This is the stuff I want to see.
And I wanted to do pornography.
I will sell it to Pornhub. Sir, guy does not need to be in society.
I keep saying this. In Sweden, Lund is a name. L-U-N-D.
It's not Lund, it's Lund.
अभी ये साइरस बरूचा ना साइरस बरूचा तो साइरस ब्रोचा का पॉडकास्ट देखने का अच्छा है टाइम पास.
People of India, I speak to everyone who watches the podcast, which is the whole country plus Nepal, Bangladesh, parts of the Indian Desi community abroad, and every single French-speaking person. Because for whatever happens, I've tried to put one French word in every show.
Do you get to
Sometimes when I speak in Hindi or Marathi also, it sounds like French.
That
So
works.
I feel, I'm almost there. But it's 10 years. That's why we're here, by the way. This is our 10 years special. We're doing many specials. This is going to go on. It's like a Punjabi wedding.
Well, I
we
mean-
have many sangeets. We have many parties, many events.
So
and
if we can take inspiration from SNL, right? SNL 50 started like
That's right.
3 weeks ago or 3 months ago. And it's going to continue for the
so we
next
are
9
juvenile
months.
SNL. They are
There we
50, we are
go.
10.
Yeah, there we
we're
go.
still to break into puberty. So our jokes are still to come. And our hard-hitting moments will be in our 30s and 40s. So we're nothing right now. We're just another kid irritating you with pimples, acne, and bleeding gums, and my nose always runs, which actually does happen now. I don't know why. It's just Shakespeare, if you remember, as you like it, 7 stages of man, you come back,
You
to
become-
regressing and all that.
I think, yeah, as you get older, you
And the
get
same
younger.
issues that I remember Mikhail Maya, because it wasn't that long ago. Now I'm becoming them as young kids again. Leakage from here, leakage from there. I have to wear pants while sleeping now. It's ridiculous. Hey, don't joke about these things because they're true and they will happen.
I have nothing
It's
to
so
say.
unfair. People laugh at ageism, but age hits everyone.
It is. Narendra Modi said, no?
What?
Yeah.
Where
dude.
did that come from? I wasn't prepared.
He just did a Lex Friedman podcast
Oh, he
in
did,
which
that's
Lex
true.
Friedman asked him the
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
are you afraid of death?
Yeah.
And his answer was like, death and life are two sides to the same coin. Are you afraid of life?
Well, I thought he would say death is afraid of me. I want to know one thing.
Yes.
Did Lex use the word Vikas?
So it's interesting. I don't know
Vikas
what...
is progress, no? What would be the right
So
translation
I'm
of Vikas?
Vikas is progress.
I
I
think
think.
closest
Yeah,
to,
I
yeah.
think it is. But I'm uncertain of how it was exactly done because. Lex
Oh, they weren't
Friedman-
together?
No, they were together in the same room. But the clips I saw, Lex Friedman was talking in English and Modi was answering in Hindi.
That's okay now.
No, but it wasn't. There was a there.
So there's no flow. You're saying?
No, there's an AI. There's some AI usage in this, and I want to understand what exactly happened. Right? Not in. But
Who's
just
the
some,
AI? Not our prime minister. You mean the other guy?
Not necessarily AI, but just translation. There is some translation happening because it's
But
released
let
in
me tell
multiple
you,
languages.
Narendra Bhai can talk perfect English. First and foremost.
I know.
I remember Lalu Prasad Yadav, when I went to interview him, not showing off, not flexing, flex. There was an election by early 2000s and we went to Patna. Raghu and Rajiv, who became famous as two bald men on TV shouting and abusing, they were my producers.
The roadies guys.
Went to Patna. Yeah, roadies guys. They were great. We had a great time and all that. And finally met him and whatever. And everybody told me, Brocha, tu Hindi mein baat kar. I said, okay, I'll try. Don't worry, I'll speak in Hindi. So I'm there, Sir ji, ye wo, and आप बताइए आपके elections के बारे में, whatever, normal 3 questions they asked us to ask. And he starts speaking in English. And he refused to speak in Hindi. Okay. I am going to say that I have tried my best to get the people. And he spoke perfect English except with a strong accent. Perfect. And he's an LLB, by the way. I'm talking about Lalu Prasad Yadav. Now back to
But again, I think it's the same kind of thing, right? I mean, like in this case, but over here, I think there is translation because I heard answers in English also, and I heard answers in Hindi also from Narendra Modi. That's same.
He spent years in Munich. He spent years in America. He speaks English.
No, it's not that he cannot speak English. I think that they have deliberately tried to.
No, but when you're having an interview where you have the opportunity to speak the other person's language, you'll do it, no?
No, but I think that they are releasing the episode in multiple languages.
But why can Lex learn Hindi? What kind of buddy?
That's true. He learned.
He learned Ukrainian or Russian descent.
I think he learned Russian, didn't he? He learned Russian, didn't he?
He is.
Is he Russian? Okay,
he's
all
of
right. Maybe that's
Slavic descent of some side.
Okay.
You know,
So
and then he went to America and forgot his language. Like North Indians in Bombay forget Hindi. They come here. Oh, Cyrus ki haal hai. 3 years later, but idhar jaane ka hai. You know, everything changes, man. We just screw those guys. Come to Bombay and die.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But, okay, yeah. Speaking of the Prime Minister, right? I mean, like, well, no.
Oh, it was 10 years.
So,
you said SNL, 50 was last 10.
So
now it's all become this Prime Minister's podcast, and I feel like a baby out of water here.
I was just transitioning into the 10,
okay,
right?
Go ahead.
In the sense that he has been our
10 years of him
it's been,
coming
yeah,
up.
exactly, right? No, more than 10. No?
11th year.
11th year, but basically around the same time, right?
But with a little controversial thing.
Yes.
September of the 11th year,
Yes.
2025, he turned 75.
That is true.
And under his ruling or hukum, they are supposed to all retire at 75.
That is true.
What happens then? Stay tuned for more.
But
The web series, Kaun Hai Prime Minister, coming soon.
I think it's a little. I think it's kind of interesting.
What do you think will happen? Come on, now just give me. Don't think
honestly,
about it. Tell me honestly.
I mean,
quick.
like, people in India don't retire. I mean, that's just the truth of it. People don't
That's
retire.
almost diplomatic.
No,
So you went into the whole people's issue.
But it is.
It's a
Listen,
generic
if you,
answer.
it doesn't matter if you're running a business, if you're in politics, it doesn't
Look at
matter.
Ratan Tata, he had to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
So now,
People don't retire.
He had retired, then he came back.
Yeah,
For example.
but people don't retire unless there's
Sunil
like
Chetri
an
came
issue.
back.
Yeah,
Huh.
well, okay.
No,
But,
so you're right.
but
I'm just trying to think people who come back after retiring.
But again, I think that retirement in itself, right? The idea that you should retire at a particular age is kind
don't
of
agree with
fallacious today.
I don't agree with that.
You think?
No, I don't agree with you can't just have one bar.
That's what I'm saying.
It's ridiculous. The person should say, look, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's it. Or in the case of Joe Biden, I think 16 years ago,
Dude,
he should have
think
retired.
about this. Cops have to retire 5 years from your current age.
59.
57, I think.
58.
So I think at 57 they start getting options in terms of retirement. But think about it, that's
But
5
I
years
think
from
at
your age.
56, up tak chappan, they
Yeah.
get chairs. Because all across Mumbai, they're sitting on chairs. Every time I fight with a cop, I'm saying, but aapke paas kursi kyun hai? And they don't know how to answer that.
They have
Because
no answer to that.
Why are they sitting on the main road in Marine Drive on chairs?
What are you fighting with cops today?
Oh, the Nakabandi, Baba, it's illegal. Do you know that under law, YP Singh himself, one of the great lawyers of our
Yes.
time, and famous IS officer before that, he said that for the Nakabandi to be considered legal, it has to be announced in all mass media before 24 hours notice has to be given. They don't do that. They just put Nakabandi wherever.
So they have a way to do
Now,
that.
on the other side.
No.
Having said that,
No,
to borrow another
you're
podcast.
correct. It is illegal, but they have found a way to skirt that law.
Which is 144. There's no 144.
So there is some kind of a like emergency power section which they just keep every month renewing. Which allows them
For no reason.
which allows them to continue doing Nakabandi.
They leave that open, the reason. You fill it in on
no,
the
no,
spot
it
when
was-
somebody challenges you.
so- no.
Ek minute.
So it was, I think, set up when it was set up, right? And again, this has been going on for God knows how long. But now they just basically automatically, they just renew it. They're saying that, okay, emergency is not abated, we need to continue, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what the documentation is, but I know that this is the mechanism which they do. There is a some sort of emergency powers kind of thing, which they just keep on
It's a
extending.
scam, you know. I mean, really ridiculous. Like I keep telling them कि आप किसको पकड़ा इधर, सच बताओ. And they don't know what to answer because who do they catch? They're catching some guy without a helmet, at 5:45 in the morning, some boy going to play cricket.
Yeah.
This is your, not Dawood Ibrahim. Use your head now. Don't waste everybody's time. Get a proper job. There are areas where crime is rampant. Don't waste time.
But,
You're harassing people.
So you,
समाज का सेवा का मतलब क्या है?
but you know about the broken windows theory of crime?
Oh Jesus, here we go again. Okay, go ahead. Give me the broken windows.
No, so broken
we have got to get into the show. We won't have 11
this
seasons.
is the show. But broken windows theory of the crime, right? Or theory of crime, right? Is that basically in areas where small crimes consistently occur, it leads to a downgrade of public responsibility. So you have to stop the smallest crimes, and only then will you be able to get bigger crimes stopped.
And
Right.
this small crime that they're stopping is
Like
a
graffiti,
53-year-old man going to
broken
do deadlifts.
windows. Huh?
Stopping me deadlifting.
Well,
What-
did you
what is
break
my
a
crime?
did you break a signal?
No, at 5:40 in the morning, what are we breaking?
I don't-
We just go past the Nakabandi and they go, the
No.
great thing about the Maharashtra police force is the humane way in which we communicate. Niche. So I do the Vijayakar taught me. I put it 1 inch down the window. Niche. Isn't it? Okay. Niche. So already now we are not happy with each
Yeah.
other. It starts from there. Then the way they ask for license. And if you hear it in UP, even when they're abusing you, you still feel nice. We're being stabbed in Lucknow. They're sweet. They're beautiful about it. Sach batao to, aap chutiya hai. Like that. And then you come here and the guy goes, license. The whole feel is wrong. It's 5:39 in the morning. I mean, I keep telling him, what are you doing here? There was a kid in front of me 3 days back on a scooter, like a 20-year-old with a cricket bag. The guy showing at 5 in the morning, he's here on his scooter trying to play his... I mean, what are you doing stopping him for?
Where is this?
He's not
Outside
reading-
the Chief Minister's bungalow or on your way?
Metro. My big bugbear is Metro.
Why Metro?
I don't know. They're sitting...
Is it a drunk driving thing?
I don't know who they've ever stopped. They have not caught a single terrorist, a single gangster, a single smuggler, a single adulterer, a single guy who just dilutes milk. Give me some time. You're stopping me with my 18-year-old daughter going to work out. One kid who's going to go play cricket. Some other mom dropping her daughter to a thing on a scooter. What the hell, yeah? It's a waste of everybody's time. Why can't they just do something else?
You're right. That is an odd thing. I think that those
And it's
are
not like they
issues.
say, good morning, sir, aap kaise ho? There's never pleasant or polite. We don't have a nice moment. I mean, I don't start me off on this here. Why? Early morning, everybody's day goes. And I, of course, I'm a bit of a motor mouth.
Right.
You may not realize that. So I can't stop talking, And I didn't give them lip and they gave me lip and all that. Last time I'm so toxic, I'm telling him, you should not be in the police, I should be in the police. He said, क्यों? I said, आपका body देख. आपका हाथ का development नहीं है, lat का development नहीं है, leg का development नहीं है, आप कितना squat मारता है, कितना deadlift मारता है. I'm asking him this, and he's so angry, but he doesn't know how to answer. But he's horribly unfit, to be honest.
I mean, yeah.
So I told him, मैं आपको protect कर सकता, आप मेरे को कैसे protect करेगा? And my daughter is caught in the middle of the conversation, and he's seething with rage. But I've not
course
crossed
he
any
is.
line. This is just conversation.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But this is what we're down to. Of course, I'm an idiot, and that's bad that they find an
That's
idiot.
kind of what I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, like at some level, they've got they're also. It's not like the guys who are standing there have made the decision that I want to stand here at 5 in the morning.
Think of Vishwas Nagre Patil.
Right.
Be a great officer. Have that as your role model. Be a warrior.
I agree.
Be a Samaj ka seva.
But,
Help people.
Cyrus,
Show your mard.
if
Don't
you're-
stand there like this and go, license. Come on, brother.
Listen, man, be sympathetic. If
No, you're sounding like Aisha the leftist.
I'm not
They work
at all
hard,
the
they work hard,
leftist.
let them sit on a chair. No. I don't want to empathize with everybody. Who
But,
empathizes
I
with
mean,
me?
like, listen, dude, it's not like they chose to do this. It's the same thing with telemarketers, right? I'm always
How are you? This is the
polite
Mother
and
Teresa and you have to
dismissive.
stop here.
No, it's not Mother
I'm
Teresa.
dealing with the human factor. When somebody irritates you at customs or security check or in the bus stop or in the train, that human factor is responsible. I can't say his father caused it or his boss is bad.
But his boss
why
is
can't he be nice to me? Why does he stop me? What does he think I'm doing?
I don't know the answer
Driving
to that.
with a daughter in gym clothes in the same car every day, same time. I mean, and they keep changing. So I can't even say that they recognize me
You
because
should
in 7
recognize
days
him,
the
yeah.
next lot comes.
So why do you go via Metro? Why don't you go via Churchgate?
I enjoy it. It warms me up.
So
in the morning.
that's the thing, right? You're also looking to picket a scab here.
Yeah.
It
And
is
I can be a bit of a chute also, no? Without crossing the line, which I enjoy the most. I can't do that at home. They're all rude to me. Here. They can't call my bluff, so there's a little bit of momentum here, and it stays in a grey area. Only my poor daughter hates it. Moment, Dad, please don't talk. Dad, please just let it be. Because I could simply say, show the license, for example, and it would end in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But then,
No, so I mean, like there is a little kida that you are applying to the situation.
I just feel that they're wasting everybody's time, and it's like what we call a muh boli kaam.
I understand.
And I don't want to subscribe to it.
Listen, I don't disagree. Like again, with the idea that there is.
It's like the 5-star hotel checking.
Yeah.
Where the Labrador comes to give you kisses.
Sure.
I can carry the bomb between my legs. And I'll hug the dog. We'll play ball for 2 minutes. I'll blow up the hotel. Nobody will know. It's a waste of time. Yeah. Right now. This is rubbish going to end. Just let's get on with the show.
Let's get on with the show.
You know that my heart is now
like,
racing with all the. My inner Bhagat Singh for the wrong cause is coming out. You know.
Yeah.
Inkilab.
So I think what I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about, right, and get like some of your thoughts on this, right? Like, it's 10 years, 1,500-ish episodes, right? Like, I mean, like, when we first met, we didn't know each other. Turns out later we did know each other, but we didn't know each other when we first met, in that sense, right? But what did you think, and did you think that it would be?
I was trying to dodge the fact that I wasn't stupid in front of your, people and you and whoever was with you. Because when you asked me what's a podcast, and I just said, as I usually do, said, of course I know what a podcast is, without elaborating. And then I asked my good friend Vijayakar, who was in the next table, do you know what a podcast is? He had no clue. So when there were two of us, we were like, okay, so this guy met me, he says he wants to do a podcast. Do you have any idea? We'd go to so many people. Nobody knew what a podcast was.
It was early.
Mohit Mahale knew. Who worked with us at
okay.
CNN IVM.
Yeah, right, of course.
He's a little more hip than us. And he explained, and he didn't even explain it properly, but I figured out from what he was saying that's basically radio on the internet.
Correct,
that was the closest thing I got.
I think that was a good but did you like? I mean, like I
hadn't seen any.
There was nothing to see at that time, right? I think
there may have been, but I
don't remember. Yeah, I guess Rogan's always been video, so I guess there were a couple that were there.
Yeah,
but it was not a.
It wasn't a movement.
It wasn't. It wasn't what it is now. But did you see it getting here in this sense, or like being this kind of a thing that like now?
I was earning money from other sources, thank God then. So I just had fun. And to be honest, it's the best medium for me. Because we talk and there's no filtering really.
Correct.
And there's no scripts most of the time, so I'm happy. And we have a conversation, which coming from television line where they give you 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and you cut to break. Nobody can talk. Look at even our news show, we had 21 minutes to shoot it. So when you write also, it becomes more like a craft. You're writing like a school essay. You have to finish it and make sure it's a 3-minute thing. Otherwise, editing is a nightmare. A monologue has to be in this much time. So here we have much more freedom. So from an artistic point of view, I mean, this is a horrible thing to say because it sounds like we're artists now. But you get your broader canvas and you can do your thing.
You get to express yourself in ways which are otherwise difficult. Also the unscripted nature of it, right?
Like just now we discussed the Nakabandi, one of the crimes of India, and I was able to get my point across. I hope, and now hopefully the powers will cancel it.
I mean,
Home Minister of Maharashtra will take cognizance of the fact and say no more Nakabandi. Now self-sufficiency. So we all carry one baton each and walk around. Simple.
It's always been my kind of belief, right, that unscripted, right, like where you can just naturally talk to somebody and talk to them about what you want to, has a power that's like, again, scripted has value, but unscripted has a power that scripted does not have, unless it's like, like in fiction it's a different thing, but scripted fiction, scripted non-fiction rather, has always seemed like, it's difficult to kind of...
We come from a TV world.
Yeah.
I mean, you also come from the same world in a sense. And they straddled us with this... it's like a forced conversation. And so much so that you're trained as an interviewer also to go back to your 10 questions. You never follow the conversation. If you're discussing the Nakabandi, I still want to go back to the Olympics.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's no segue there, whatever. But here in the podcast, we could just, even though we have a few questions to get into, if we don't go there, we don't go there.
Yeah.
So there's a natural progression of conversation, which I like. And if you're listening to other people talk in a bar or whatever, you want to have a natural... If it's fun, it's a natural progression of conversation.
Yeah.
It's not too forced.
No, that's fair. I think that's true. What's your favorite form of doing this? Right, we've done a lot of different forms.
I like the panel with 4 or 5 cheeky buggers together. I don't know if I can say that anymore. Cheeky. I like that the most because the good ones are great fun.
Yeah.
Some are just anarchic and you can't understand what's going on, but it's like being in politics.
So I think it's even honestly from my perspective, I think that I used to really enjoy those. As long as I think like 4 becomes too much, right? I think 3 was the right number where you get enough that you get some of this, but it doesn't become like, I remember we did some where we were 4 where
we've done 5 actually.
We've done 5 also, but like I remember there was one where me and Ayushi were having one conversation. You and Sriram were having another conversation at the same time. So nothing came out of that
No, I get
any
what you're
could
saying.
understand.
As per Maharashtra politics, 3 is a better number.
Yeah.
If you see, you have the NCP Part 2 with Shiv Sena Part 2 and with BJP as 1. And then you have Congress, Shiv Sena Part 1 and NCP Part 1 as 1. So they have also done 3 each.
They have also done 3 each,
technically.
yes.
So I get that. But I've enjoyed 4 also.
Yeah.
I'm not talking from the viewer's point of view because how do we know
That's
what
true.
they like? I can only tell you what you think the room has enjoyed and what you've enjoyed.
Right.
And go with that. So, when you have people like Ayushi, I'm just naming who comes to mind, so
that's
please,
fine,
no
yeah.
offense to anyone. But we have Ayushi, Puneet, Sriram, those kind of people, Shreyas. Just this good gel that happens,
Yeah.
Silvery, Abbas. So, over a period of time, there were 8-10 people on the roster, and it was fun to chat with them.
Yeah.
And they all brought something to the party, and we would, pull each other's leg. I like banter, I love it. I miss that in my relationships with people like Kunal, because
Yeah.
whenever I'm pulling his leg, he's like, Manje, what? My favorite thing about Kunal is I used to come from Bombay Gym to go to our studio. So, every time I'd say I'm at 7 roads, he'd say, what? I mean, yeah, exactly. Sat Rasta, no? I would just call it 7 roads and, he'd be like, what? Wow, it's so horrible. But if I say to Sriram, there'll be a comeback, even if he doesn't understand. So it's fun. So I miss that. I wish I had a few more of those guys around.
Interesting. No, but I think that, hopefully we can come back to doing more of those than we've been doing over the late.
But on the other hand, you can't get too attached. You try different things. It's a brand new... we're like the first generation. So the ones that follow will say, okay, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. Seeing it what we did. But
even one of the interesting things over here about just the overall space compared to television, right, is the details you get about numbers, right? Analytics in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of very clear to you what works and what doesn't work,
Yeah,
right?
and
In
it's
that sense.
immediate. Well, in the old days in television, they would give us a data sample study
Correct.
over a period of time. And I mean, they used to tell me things like, middle class women like you.
Yeah.
Which made no sense. I'm like 24-year-old VJ who talks rubbish. There's no way. So I don't know where the sample studies would come from.
See, that's exactly what it is, right? It's sample studies. This is
Yeah.
actual data, analytic
this
data.
is numbers.
Right? Yeah. So that is the difference, right? When you get a sample, you will hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One person has outsized influence. I mean, there's some stories about that in the context of ratings, right? That
Are you talking about a specific channel?
there was something that happened recently, right? Like where somebody, it came out that complete faking of numbers happened.
Ah! I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so I mean,
Don't take names.
because I can't remember. That's why I
I can
won't take
remember
names.
who you're trying to talk about.
I know I know who we are meta
the most
talking
famous,
about.
news anchor.
Correct. So meta, I know who we're talking about. I don't remember the specifics of the issue.
I'll give a bigger hint. The name begins with the letter Ah,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
which is in Devanagari. Because there's no
So just to
Ah. There's Oh, eh? I know I is there in Marathi. Tuji. Sorry.
but I mean, that I think is a big difference in terms of just what we do. We have to react to what we see the audience likes or does not like. I think.
Oh, and we have this Discord in, let's call it our
That's always
first
fun,
business
yeah.
class or first class passengers who travel with us.
Yes.
And thank God for them. I mean, they're a small tribe, but they're very important. They are worse than your parents or something. They're absolute critics, but they're good critics because they like the show.
Yeah.
And they keep underlining everything. It's not
Right.
like they're negative, but what happens is you cannot fool them.
But
So that's a bit scary.
it's,
Get rid of them.
No, but I think honestly I think that they do an amazing kind of bounce off in that sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
seeing if Himisha or Harvest or
Shweta.
Shweta,
She's the big
or-
mom. Don't
yeah,
miss her name,
Shweta.
Arpit.
Any of them
There's
have
so many,
anything
yeah.
to say, right? I mean, you have to kind of take what they say seriously because they're coming from a place where they have
But
consumed
mostly
so
it's tongue in
much.
cheek. They follow the same system,
Yeah.
so it's mostly a little funny and they're pulling your leg, but they're also critical while pulling your leg, which is the best way. It's almost like satire,
Right.
Satire of so-called satire. So I don't know if that's double satire, reverse satire. I'm not sure, but there is vyang. Hindi mein vyang bolte hain. You're very young. Huh? I like only pretty young things. Sorry.
So
There's only so much of a podcast they can tolerate. We have technicians walking on the Broacha bus, both ho gaya.
So
They'd
what
rather
about-
listen to early Lata Mangeshkar. Go ahead, yeah.
What about time, right? I remember that when we first started, you were not very keen on the 1 hour format.
No, I must have been just trying to leave early, but other than that, I think in the really good shows, just like in anything in life,
Yeah.
you don't even see the time.
Okay.
Like right now, we've been having a decent conversation. I have no idea how much time has passed.
Neither do I, honestly.
Yeah, so that happens. With the guest episode, we try to, because there are certain things we want to get into it,
Correct,
and et cetera, et cetera. So we try and keep around the 1 hour. With the panel, it could easily exceed 1 hour without you knowing.
I
Because
think
everybody's talking also.
That also
And
is
we've
there.
got 10,000 things to talk about. Oh, and by the way, if everybody's got an opinion, you're in big trouble. Like there's some topics where everybody wants to talk.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Whatever it is. And then it's just a 15-minute conversation
It
for
is.
one small topic.
But it's also, I think, honestly, like, kind of the fun of the medium, right, is to, like, take every last ounce that exists of juice inside this bone or meat or whatever and try and kind of, like, really pull it out, right? I think that's what makes this fun. Otherwise, it would be...
I look at it a little differently. I think we should not look at results and try to look at what the outcome is and where we're going with it and all that, but stay in the moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you can do that, that's all you need to do. And they'll be good, they won't be so good, whatever. But if you stay in the moment, everybody will, after a period of time, I think you'll create something.
I agree. I think that's what you
I'm telling my daughter the same thing. She's worried about her exam results. Just screw the results. Just do the damn studying and do the exam.
I mean...
Results will happen. Yeah, because you're just anxious about what? What can you do? You can't keep thinking, will I get 80? Will I get 80? You got to, the time will pass in that.
Yeah, you do the work and you get what you get out of it, right? I think that is kind of...
I could dress up like her and go to do the exam. But
I don't see that working.
You see the eco paper is unbelievable. This IB is not a joke. I thought it would be easy. It's damn tough. Kunal couldn't answer a single question in English.
I think it gets in English.
In English, in the English lit thing.
In English
we
lit?
asked him 10 questions. He can't. It's bro, it's above our payroll.
Okay.
It's not about whether you know your literature and all. The questions are beyond your capacity.
So, I mean, like, are they? Is it because they're specific about a particular
they're very
play?
specific. They're looking at Othello and they're giving you Desdemona vis-a-vis this, that, and the other.
Unless you've actually read it in a recent...
Even with a vague understanding, you can't.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people when we were young, the history paper would just, if they said, write about the Battle of Khanwa.
Yeah.
They would say the Battle of Khanwa was fought on. I think at the date right. And after that, they'll write, my mother is 6'3". She watches LA Lakers and all. Because they're mostly examiners would be one or two facts and then we're good.
So I remember that in the HSC, I was told that is the trick, right? That basically first
2-3 lines.
And then after that, just make sure that you have some length to your answer. They don't care about anything else. Yeah. I remember in school we had a thing, right, where it wasn't not a thing, but it was a incident where a bunch of people copied the question paper.
Oh, we did that all the time.
And just turned it into the answer, right?
Yeah.
Like
if you don't have the answer, just rewrite the question.
Rewrite the question.
Isn't that what we do in dialogue?
I guess
when it's an awkward question, if you ask somebody like, bro, you seeing that girl? Huh? What? Seeing that girl?
I think you're right. That is what we do in dialogue.
Exactly.
When there is an awkward question, we do rewrite the question.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
You're just killing time. God. Marathi wasn't compulsory, thank God. Maji Ai was Maji Ai. I mean, I didn't bother. Really. My friend Samir Sarai wrote all the Marathi answers in Hindi. And let me tell you, he failed Hindi. So I don't know what he was trying to do. I said, Chutia, why do you just answer in English then? And he just about passed English. So it wasn't like, come on.
Yeah, no,
what a horrible class we were.
I think it was, it was different, right? It was a different time,
yeah,
different
there was
world.
no political pressure and all this.
Which I was watching something yesterday, right? Like, it was a podcast about just the future of stuff. And it was interesting. They were talking about scientific achievement and basically where things will go in the future and what if AI destroys all connectivity in a particular part of the world. And then they were talking about
Calcutta.
Anywhere, man.
Because they're used to load shedding and all, I'm just saying.
No, but it was interesting in the sense that, this was the thought experiment, if you will, and there's nothing to do with our podcast, but just...
We haven't even begun the podcast.
Yes.
I think we've had this has been the story of our podcast. We haven't got to the point for so friggin' long.
So let me ask you a question.
We're the king of foreplay. I think that's what we do.
This was the... listen, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
This was the thought experiment post, right? Do you think humanity could go to the moon in 2025 without the internet?
Without the internet?
So basically,
I'm repeating the question.
Yeah, so you went to the moon. So in the 1960s, you went to the moon with the internet, without the internet, right? Now, have we become so dependent on the internet for all information, all kinds of things? Do you think that we could redo going to the moon in like they went to the moon in 18 months? Do you think we could go to the moon in 18 months without the internet?
I'll tell you who won't go to the moon, no matter how much you pay her, Sunita Williams.
Oh,
I think she's never stepping out of her house. She's like, I'm homebound 30 years. Till 2071, I'm here. The last 2 days of my life, I might venture something. There's no way. Man, why would anyone want to go to the moon?
It's
I'm just thinking you're trapped in a box. And they keep telling you, theek hai, science hai, both hai, internet, whatever, everything. What if it doesn't work? What are they going to tell you? Good news, bad news. Good news, you reached. Bad news, it's not working. So enjoy.
It was an interesting thing I saw, just a thought experiment in that sense, right? But
what can we do without the internet today?
so that's the
I
question,
mean,
right?
driving here
dependent
into
we
the
become?
studio, if someone's
Yeah.
driving me, for example, I'm
Yeah.
on the internet only. What do you
Yes.
do? Who's not? I want to know how many people are left in the world who, if their hands are free, I mean, forget that. In Parliament, people are on the internet.
Yeah. So same question, right? Like, so one of the other things that the internet has wrought, right, is this idea that literacy levels, right, adult literacy and numeracy levels are going down, like they're crashing.
But
And-
what is the literacy level
So there,
line?
so the idea, the thought being that basically, to be somebody who can read a book, to do that, you require a certain amount of attention span. You need to be able to focus. You need to be able to concentrate, right? And the internet today has made it so that concentration
Has gone down, for sure.
Has gone down, right?
But having said that, the correlation here, which I find odd, is what you're saying is where there's no Wi-Fi, they should be very educated. So if you go to the
Yeah.
interiors of the world and there's no Wi-Fi, you find people who are completely uneducated. And you're like, what happened here? No Wi-Fi. No internet. And still no
Yeah.
education. So now what's happening?
I don't know. I just find the whole thing
Kunal
interesting.
Vijayakar has proven this as a wrong premise.
Okay, so there is a counter to that, if you will, right?
Okay.
Like, so basically, the internet or AI, it is a tool for those who are curious. If you're curious and you're into the internet or you're into AI, these supercharge your abilities to do various things,
It's like steroids.
just like steroids. If you're somebody who is like,
So what is the AI side
chill.
effects?
No, so even those, right? Like, I mean, like, we don't know, right? So
If
they
you
will,
see a bald man, you'll say he's on AI.
but
Sorry. Touchy topic.
all
Sorry.
right, cool. But if you look at, but people who are not curious, who are not motivated, who are just around and just hanging out and doing that, for them, these become very destructive things, right? Because what winds up happening is that it allows them to just pass time easily without having to stress about things. Just like it becomes like addiction in that sense, right? So it's
Brother, you're not married.
How?
Once you get married, you understand you need distractions. It's
Sure.
not easy. The old days, they'd have affairs. Now we don't have affairs. We just watch things. It's much better. So this AI may not be such a bad thing coming soon.
I think AI is a great thing,
No
but
pun
I think it
intended.
is going to be a challenge for a lot of people.
Don't be negative, yeah.
No, it's going to be a great thing.
By the way, when you talk about all the way humanity has gone forward, from the beginning they said theatre will die.
Yeah.
When you first said television.
nothing dies.
Radio. When radio will kill the video will kill the radio star. Then internet will kill video and film. But everything survived.
Nothing ever dies.
Everything is survived.
Nothing ever dies.
Doordarshan survived. That's
Yes.
pre-entertainment.
The Doordarshan has an OTT app with all of his shows on it now.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I watch it.
Yes.
They're long drives.
No, but nothing dies. I think that's the history of media, right? Everything just evolves into something new, and whatever new comes
So I'm saying
up.
that this negative sort of impact feel that people have of futuristic doom and all, I think we should not get into it too much.
I am not a doomsayer at all. I'm a
No,
super
but a lot of people, when
optimist.
you say AI, they start breathing heavily.
They do.
Yeah.
I think AI is going to be great for a lot of people. I think it's going to suck for a lot of people because a lot of jobs are going to get screwed.
I'm more worried about IA than AI, Indian Airlines. Because
Yeah.
having privatized, let's hope they get better. I'm a little worried. A lot of people
I
being very
feel
critical.
they've gotten worse. That's
Yeah,
a whole
okay.
different.
Oh,
This.
yeah, we
They
don't have
lost my
time.
bags on the way to Malaysia. They delayed my flights multiple times. Like
How
the
can you use
complaints.
this podcast for a personal vendetta against? I mean, did I do that with the
against
cops?
Air India? No, of course not.
Come on, let's get. at
Let's
least a
get
few
to some of the questions
in.
in. Yeah, all right. I think we already answered this first question. How did we meet? Then the next.
How do we meet?
How did we meet? Where did we
I thought it
meet?
was
When
like
did
a
we meet?
biological-
Yeah.
biology
Okay.
exam or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. No, I think
There's
we
an
all.
embryo, there's a fertilizing, this is what happens in AI. I'll play with the taxi till then. Another problem area.
I
I've
think-
gone from a taxi hater to a taxi almost lover.
Really? Why?
Because until I did this show called MTV Bakra and drove a taxi, they used to fight with us a lot. No?
Okay.
Westernized Indian males
Huh.
and taxis and rickshaws just didn't get along.
Okay.
They were like tiger and deer or something. We just
Okay.
didn't get along. I don't know. It was almost, I can't explain it to you. There was a dynamic when you're young, you wear jeans and you're, with a taxi against a taxi driver rickshaw, there's always war. It just follows.
Really?
Slowly, as we got older and I started driving a cab myself, I realized how hard the life was, as you mentioned, with the cops. But it's really boring, man, and it's hot.
It is, yeah.
You're stuck in that cab, there's nothing to do with it. And before the internet, before this phone and all, now they're all
Yeah.
okay. They got all this to do, thanks to the internet.
Internet,
But
yeah.
they just have to kill time. There are many hours where you don't
think-
have any fare.
But Cyrus, I think the fighting with the taxi thing was a you thing. I don't think it was an everyone thing.
Many people. They used to give a lot of issues. I don't want to get into it because it's going to
Like
sound
what?
like
They
this-
don't want to go from
this
point A to
class
point
wars.
B.
Yeah, all that. This,
Okay.
Again, the way you talk and this and that. And
Yeah, okay, I guess that's fair.
Lots of. I mean, I've fought with so many people in uniform. It's scary. Watchmen, taxi drivers, cops. Only the army I have a lot of love for. They've always been nice.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like the army. I just feel that that's the real deal. Because at the end of the day, there's real chance of death.
Right.
And there's really rigorous sort of exercise. And, you're putting yourself out there in certain fronts and areas. So I think that's a different thing. I think everybody else is a little bit, guys, if you're a traffic warden, you're not exactly in the mouth of the beast.
Yeah.
You're not really with
So
the man-eaters and, come on.
Yeah, that's the problem that I don't think that ever goes away.
Or
right?
even
I
the
mean, like
watchman,
just-
with due respect, poor chap,
Yeah.
lovely guy. One thing I want to stop is the watchman having to hold the Saab's bag, open the lift, says, salute you. This rubbish has to stop.
That's
When
on
will
the
stop?
Saab, right? I mean, that's not on the watchman.
No, they do it, yeah. I have to keep
No,
telling
they
them
will
not to.
do it, but they do it because somebody is like expecting them to
I
do
know.
it, right?
But the emasculated Indian male is not going to change. I'm thinking in the meantime, they should just not do it.
But I mean, I think it's a more reasonable thing to expect people who do it. You should look at them like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I would love to spit on them, but it's not that easy in today's modern democracy to just do things like that. In the meantime, how do we stop this? Let's get Watchmen for the podcast and we tell them, guys, this is democracy. Indians must understand democracy ka matlab kya hai, egalitarianism, what does it exactly mean? Why do you have to, you don't have to, prostrate yourself because someone is earning more money?
I agree.
When will that end?
I did tell one of my watchmen you don't need to do this, and I think that
You
should
have an
be.
American accent, so you must have done it more.
No, well, I tell it in Hindi to him, right? Like
Yeah, I wanna
basically,
hear
he
I'll be
came
the
from-
watchman.
So he was at
Sir.
one. No. So he came from one gate running to open the door. I'm like, dude, it's fine. You don't need to come and open my door.
They won't get it. I tried. They just don't understand.
Yeah, I'm just like if you're standing right there and you want to open the door, fine, fuck it. But why are you running like?
Today I told the guy in the bomb gym who opened the door, he said, good morning, sir. I said, sir, mat bolo, please. Okay, sir. What do you do here? You can't. There's no cure.
I mean, it is you're
I
right.
blame the Brits, yeah. There's something, why we do
It's not the
this,
Brits. It's
why
not
this
the Brits.
subservience thing which we can't get out of? It doesn't happen in many countries.
you
You in
wanna
Australia, your chauffeur talks to you very normally. He sits on the table with you, everything.
Want a
There's
serious
question-
answer?
Sorry?
Serious answer?
Yeah.
It's caste system.
Yeah, maybe.
It's the legacy of the
Yeah,
caste system,
yeah.
right? It's the fact that people of upper castes
Yeah.
believe that other people are there to serve them, and it is
Yeah, the body language is
ingrained
just, there's something,
yeah.
the visual, forget your dialogue, the
Yeah.
visual is wrong.
Yeah.
Start walking behind, head down, the other guy, all the...
No, but
drives me nuts.
it comes down to it. Maybe it might not be caste in all cases. In many
No,
cases,
I know
I
what you're
think it
saying.
is.
The foundation is caste, but
Yeah.
beyond that caste class, it intersects.
It intersects in that
And
sense,
then
yeah.
sometimes you think you're born to serve somebody who's making more money than you.
Exactly, and the person who is
and
making
that guy's
more
a
money,
wife beater who hits his
Yeah.
kids,
No,
urinates
but
on animals. I mean, he's a
even
prick,
that
but
person
you're still doing it.
Even that person believes that this person I deserve.
Obviously, that's
I
why
deserve
you don't
this
stop him
service.
opening the door for
Yeah.
you. I mean, there's this guy in the building, he has a small briefcase and a little bottle. That has to be carried. I mean, like, really? I mean, imagine if he's in Kargil. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
Pakistan is attacking big guys with guns and all. He's like, mera bottle kiske paas hai? I would be scared as an Indian.
I mean, I'll tell you another one which kind of I don't like that much, right? I don't do this anymore. But at my house, when I used to bring lunch to office, right? They would make a practice of going down and putting my lunch in my car. I'm like, I can carry it.
Yeah.
It's like, it
Why is
weighs.
it day?
Huh?
How much lunch are you eating? Why
No,
do
no.
8 people have to take the lunch?
No, I mean like one guy. The guy from home would it became a process, right?
No, but
The
I've
guy-
seen, the
the
three or
guy
four
from
minders,
home
yeah.
would call the lift, give it to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
watchman. The watchman would go down, give it to the driver would put it in the car, or sometimes the driver would come up to take it. I'm just
And
like,
I feel
this is-
society is a better place because the great man's lunch is now in the car.
and I'm just like,
The world is safe.
Who? Like honestly, it weighs half a kilo. I can carry it myself.
No, we've got to stop. I don't know how to stop this. I try my best, but nobody supports me. Other people don't say anything.
Let me tell you another one which drives me mad, right? And
Yeah.
so this was
By the way, that means this podcast will end without a single question.
Okay, well we got
No,
one
finish,
in.
finish, finish
we got
fast.
one in.
No.
No, so the one
Sounded vulgar, but carry on.
Okay, so when it did sound vulgar. When I came back from the US, I was told by the guys who worked in my house at that time. One guy who worked in my house, and there was a maid. They told me. They literally they came to me and said, "If you need water, come and just ask us for it. Don't come to the kitchen to get it."
As in, you're too big and great to be
Yeah,
in the
you
kitchen.
should like. Well, I'm here. We'll get you what is what you.
Or were they fornicating? In which case, like, please knock.
So that might be another issue.
I mean, you never know. Yeah.
I mean,
just
that's
looking at it from different
no.
angles.
Those things can happen as well. But no, it was literally like they would get uncomfortable because I would go to the kitchen to
But
get
see,
the
this is
water
never going
and
to
come
stop.
back.
This is never going to stop because whether it's the politicians or film actors or industrialists or whatever, they're not stopping it.
Yeah, they're
the,
not.
The influential
They like
people.
it.
Why do we have 17 cars going with some guy with a light? It's
So
all wrong. It starts from there.
Without naming any kind of names, right? When
Yeah.
we have a guest in this office who comes with like 10 people with them,
Okay.
right? That's just annoying, right? Why do you need 10 entourage?
Oh, you mean a
men?
guest for the podcast?
For the podcast, this podcast, other podcasts, why do you need 10 entourage people with you, man?
To be fair, yeah, exactly. But the film people do have, some of them have like 2 managers, and they have the OTT manager, then they have the
Sure.
makeup person, hair person. If you see them without hair and makeup, it's scary. So they need those people to come. But what I would think is, yeah, we should, Prithvi, this is your
more
audio.
sort of a power dynamics thing, I think.
Yeah. I
It
don't know
is.
power dynamics, but all of this has to end, really. Do your own friggin' makeup.
I mean, I don't know if it is power dynamics. It's people like it is showing off.
they'll
a
say
certain
that
amount
these
of
guys
this,
get
right?
employment, so if you take them away, they're not getting employed. So they'll give it to you as a labor
So,
question.
no, we get that all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like basically, oh, this is how my entourage gets paid.
Yeah.
So like, even for things where like makeup and hair and this and that, it's like just.
So
we
now
don't
that
need
becomes
any
almost like a moral argument in another realm.
Yeah,
So
I know.
you got to
It's
think about all this.
It is a.
That's why India's a very complicated country. That's why the British left. They just couldn't understand after some time.
Yeah, it's
But the only decent thing they did, the British, I mean, other than cricket, was wear shorts. And except for the RSS, nobody picked it up. Until today, I tell everyone, wear shorts. This is a hot country. Don't wear fucking pants and walk around here. Sorry.
No, I don't think we have any questions here, man, because the only 2 questions are from Harvespa about the NBA. I don't think that you want to answer. You want to talk about the NBA.
No, I think we'll Harvespa go offline for the NBA because you two Americans.
Actually,
can-
even Kazillion has an NBA question.
Okay.
So 2 NBA questions, I guess. But that's it.
Would you like to answer one if you feel better?
I mean, I could, but who are your
but not
picks-
too long. Come on, let's
Okay.
go.
Who are your picks out of the East and the West? So I think, boring picks, Boston and Oklahoma. And the other question is Luka Doncic. You heard about the Luka Doncic trade?
I'll say yes.
Okay, you know who Luka Doncic is?
I'll say yes again.
Great white hope in basketball.
You told me about him, the Croatian or
the Croatian, the Serbian-Croatian guy.
Well, that's 2 different, very, very. This is like India, Pakistan.
So
Be
I
very
don't-
careful. We better get
I-
this right. You can't say, then when they say it for us,
What is Slovakian?
Slovakia is separate.
So he's Slovakian.
Slovakia is a separate
He's a-
country. Slovenia is separate. Slovakia is separate. Serbia is separate. Croatia,
He is Slovakian. I'm pretty sure
Albania,
about that.
all separate.
Pretty sure he's Slovakian.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry to our viewers from Slovakia.
All 1/3 of you. No, but so he's considered to be one of the best players of.
He got traded.
He got traded to the Lakers, who get all the best players, and they traded somebody back to him who got hurt on the first game. Well, very good
What means
player.
he won't play the season? Just one or 2
gone for the
games.
season.
That's convenient.
That is convenient. It is. I mean, there are lots of conspiracies about it. But I mean,
It happened to a couple of IPL cricketers who've been injured just pre-season during like this week. We're recording this in the week before the IPL starts. So you get injured now, it's game on.
Yeah.
You're injured at work.
Yeah.
Full payment. So it's 20 crores, 20 crores. Full payment. There's no halves, nothing. Because you're still...
Interesting.
You've not said no. But you hurt your ankle, so you can't bowl. It's over.
I think that's that you have in sports, in most sports, right?
Paid holiday, brother.
But not necessarily,
6-7
right?
weeks.
Like also, like, would it be fair for you not to get paid if you get hurt at work?
I don't know. I mean, if this is the contract is in place.
Yeah.
It's like you're hurt on the job, which
So
can happen.
exactly, yeah.
But he's not technically on the job. He's now started training, but he got hurt in training.
We got hurt in training. I mean, it is the job, right?
Or did he get
Training is
hurt?
the job.
I mean, anyone can act.
But anyone,
Hamstring.
So there was one basketball player who people thought was acting for the longest time, but then it turns out and he's sucked for the last 4 years. So he probably wasn't acting. He probably is hurt, right? Like so he was a very good
Also,
player.
what people don't know is amongst the athletes, the same area gets injured, right? You have what is called what's it called?
repetitive
injury.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you have to check that because
Yeah.
there are people with such and such injury. Very good chance it'll happen again. So you got to spend this kind of money. Then change the contract. I'm saying if he hurts his hamstring because he has a history of hamstring, just say no hamstring injury will be tolerated. Hurts his arm, it's fine. Shoulder injury, fine.
So one of the interesting things I saw is the same podcast which was telling me about this the moon thought experiment. In that they were talking about how AI will be applied towards sports in the future, right? Like so one of the things that they will do is, are injuries real or fake? right? In the sense that like you'll be able to get a sense of that because you have so much data about how people act when they are injured,
But-
how
but-
they.
What if it's in a grey area where the pain threshold is different for you and me, but it's not a tear?
It's-
just like a partial twist
I
or
mean,
whatever.
that,
but
all
the pain threshold is different. You say I can't take it.
So I think that is
Who's
always
going to call my bluff?
There's always going to be that, right? I don't think that like. Do you really like? I wonder about that, right? Unless there is some kind of contract dispute of some nature, I don't think that you get to be a professional athlete. Like the amount of time, effort, will that you have to put
there are
into
many
it.
of them who just break down easily. I'm not. Unfortunately, I don't like basketball. The ball is too big. It gives me a complex. I like cricket. And Nasir Hussain, Shiv Chandra Paul. I can name you so many cricketers who just break down all the time.
But
and
it's
they're
not
just
a fake
fragile
injury.
physically.
But it's not a fake injury, right? It's a real
They're not
injury.
fake injuries. But I'm saying if I had put them under contract, I'd be very careful because I know their history.
So that happens too, right? Like so.
Mohammad Shami for us. Far too many injuries. Bumrah at the moment is like a walking time bomb. It's a big fear about his back and knee.
Right.
So I mean, and fast bowlers across the world, you got to be a little careful. I would put them under different contracts.
So I think that there are different sports do that, right? They do that in soccer famously, right? In European soccer, there are some injury exceptions, or there are
they
some.
insure their legs and all that.
So I think so that they do, but
Sometimes
I think there are
more than their legs.
there are games played bonuses, right? Like if it's a 35 match season, right? I think which the EPL is, you get an extra bonus when you hit 30 matches.
Yeah.
So then that means you've not been injured that much, right? You won't hit 30 matches if you've been dealing with injuries. So there are these games played bonuses that I think come in that way. That's the way to compensate for that.
I just think that athletes are getting paid too easily nowadays, and I would like to be more strict with that.
But who are you going to take the money from? This is the thing that always
I
drives
want
me
the
mad,
contracts
right?
to be more watertight.
You want Ambanis to make more money at the expense of the cricketers?
No.
You
I want the
want
contracts to be more watertight so that there's none of these shenanigans that are possible.
How do you know that they are shenanigans?
Let me do the contract.
I
have to study the subject properly.
I would ask you this, right? To get to the point of a international or IPL cricket player, you have to put so much time, effort, money, not money, but time, effort. Like you have to overcome injuries, you have to do all of that. That implies a certain type of character. These are not the kinds of people who are going to fake injuries just to sit at home and not play.
If you were in the twilight of your career, what the hell, and you booked your lovely Bali vacation or whatever. I mean, what the hell?
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
don't
like,
know.
I really like.
I'm very suspicious of the subcontinental mind. I always feel we're always thinking, मेरे लिए क्या है इसमें?
So
that's always been part of our culture. No? Even in the middle of war, you're about to fight with someone, you're saying, 1 minute. क्यों? Will my zameen get more?
I get that. I understand what you're saying because we are dealing with like a very transactional culture where everything is
especially for league sport, cricket, football,
for
what have
everything,
you.
like
not country.
But even in all of this stuff, right? Even in like just life generally, right? Everything is transactional, right? To a great extent. So we do live in that kind of a culture as such. But I think that sport, people, right? It's the same kind of thing. Like think about this, right? You yourself as a podcaster now or a television person now. No. Oh well, yeah, okay. But if you would imagine yourself there, but
thank you.
They make the make the comparison or the simile in your head, right? But as a podcaster or as a professional actor or what have you, right? You've agreed to come. You worked at this shit for the longest time at this point in time. You are never
we
fucking
can't get
late.
paid in our kind of line if we don't do the performance or do the show or whatever.
There.
They can.
No, they can't because the next contract
so then if he
matters
gets injured,
now.
you're saying he gets nothing.
The next contract matters, right?
That's another point. I'm saying right now in entertainment, if you don't do it, you don't get paid.
Well, yeah, you don't.
You may get a signing amount or something if there's some agreement.
But again, like all this stuff comes down to discipline and stuff like that. You show up all the time, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, you're here on time.
Yeah.
You're here before any of these people are there.
I should really honestly be the watchman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've been talking about.
Sometimes I welcome him. I'm like opening the gate, saying, "Sir ji, aaiye," and all that.
No, we've had serious conversations about getting your key to the office so that you don't have to wait
but
for anybody to show up.
What I might be thinking, I might take things home. I like that plan.
No, but it's professionalism, right? At the end of the day, and to become a professional cricketer or a professional sportsman, it is so competitive that if you don't have the right mental makeup, I don't think you get there.
I don't know. I think if I was a professional sportsman after 10, 15 years in the business, I would do a little bit of jugaad. What the hell, yeah?
I mean,
same 7 cities. But he has a question.
To Amit, Did you ever play basketball in your young days?
I mean, not professionally, but in school, yeah. In
Amit, I
college,
don't think anyone's doubting that you play it professionally. I mean, to be
Well,
fair.
no, I mean, like, not even seriously. Like, professionally, as in, like, not even like the equivalent of Giles Club or anything like that. Like, a
When
Giles
you were in
Shield or
America,
anything
did you
like
play
that.
basketball or not?
I mean, like a college on the, like, just in
5-on-5 outside
some
the-
mostly one-on-one, but like,
one-on-one.
mostly one-on-one.
That
Basketball,
ain't sounding like basketball to me.
mostly when you're playing basketball, you're doing one-on-one. It is, it's fine.
I couldn't. The ball was just too big. No jokes.
But when did you discover basketball? Like, seriously?
He's an
what
American
age?
kid.
I was born in
No,
the
I
US.
mean, what
He
age?
grew up in the US.
It's correct, I know, but at what age?
What age means what? You're tracking the Michael Jordan of today? What age did he discover basketball? He grew up in
I
that
went-
environment, and basketball was very much part of the environment.
I have a memory of going for a basketball game before the age of 7. I don't remember what exact age, but before the age of 7, I have.
And it was the
memory of
first
going to
time
basketball game.
a guy was in the audience who was not black or white. So they were like, "Who's that?"
Which was the match?
And he had a little knapsack and a cap, and they were saying, "No, be careful."
Yeah, it was obviously the Sixers because it was in Philadelphia. I don't remember who the opponent was. I don't remember I have a memory of going to a game. I don't remember
Was
anything
Jack
about the
Nicholson
game.
in the audience or not?
No, this was in Philadelphia, dude.
Oh.
Over here in Philadelphia, no Jack Nicholson. That's the Lakers.
I thought they follow one of the teams everywhere.
No, he goes to all the Lakers home games, and if the Lakers are in the playoffs, he'll show up. But he's not going to go for like some.
No,
Listen, my dad is not buying at that time some playoff tickets. He is only buying regular season tickets.
Fair.
And maybe even preseason tickets for all I know, right? I mean, like, that's entirely possible. A couple of years ago, I went to DC, and my brother and his friends wanted to go for a football game. It was a preseason football game, and they're let's go because it's cheap.
I would like to interrupt because we have a lot of viewers from Delhi. DC is not defense colony. This is DC is Washington. right?
Washington, DC,
Just
yes.
Because you're confusing. It was like
But
DC
did
mein
you
dekha
get
nahi bhai,
a chance to watch Michael Jordan live anytime?
No, I've not seen Michael Jordan live, but I've seen a lot of players live from that era. Michael Jordan, I never saw.
Name 3 players he doesn't know that you've seen live.
Patrick Ewing.
know?
Do you know Patrick Ewing?
No.
Karl Malone.
Do you know? Karl Malone's a lot on YouTube. Then third.
John Stockton's the easy answer, but
John Stockton's the easy answer.
I went for a Seattle Supersonics game, so I saw Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. I probably went for like 15-20 games over the 4 years of college.
My introduction to basketball was Last Dance.
The documentary.
It's pretty fresh.
Yes.
Okay. The most entertaining part of the podcast.
And
Do you have anything else to say? Because I'd like to shoot myself in the
last
foot and die
question.
slowly.
Last question. Why did you choose to open a podcast company?
That's him.
Okay.
It's not a podcast company. Oh, yeah, Raymond.
I guess it is a.
No, in the beginning it was in your mind, what is called a podcast company? You want to start podcasts.
I wanted to start a podcasting network. The
Yeah, you
idea
did,
was
you did.
always to
Yeah.
start multiple shows,
True.
right? Never do just one show.
At one point you had 80, 90.
We were doing. I think at most we did 50 at a time.
50 shows.
Yeah,
But-
but they were all audio, right? There was no.
Yeah, but still 50 shows is a
50
proper
shows.
network. no?
Yeah, it was a network, right? So even now, I mean, like we're doing 12, I think. So even now, 12 is a network, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like in that sense, it's just more. And again, I think the difference between audio and video is it's a lot more manpower intensive to make video than it is to make audio. But why did we start? We started because essentially talk radio in India was not a thing. I thought talk radio, non-fiction conversational content, right, which is what we spoke about very early on in
Yeah.
this conversation. I think that's a really interesting and compelling way to consume
Also,
stuff.
Ordnov had taken the talk TV space, so you
Yes,
couldn't
yeah.
go there.
Well,
We had to find something else.
that is
Something
true.
Run by one person.
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a criticism that's come in the email, which I don't want to share with anyone, but it's there, which says that why do we have less females in the office all the time?
In the office.
Like we only hire males.
Dude,
I mean, I feel it's
not
wrong.
True.
We have like one Shreya.
Well, it's on this show, but besides that, we have so many other women
I don't
who
see
work
any
here.
girls. As a young man, I used to go to, that's why I liked NDTV.
Wow.
When there were more girls than boys, I felt more comfortable.
Fair enough.
I find boys are creepy. And
So,
then
I think our
CN and IBN, more boys.
so I
I'm
think,
not blaming HR. I'm not saying you go this way or that way. I'm just saying, yaar.
No,
कभी तो
so
motivation
I-
भी एक चीज है.
I feel
You
like our
come to
ratios
office.
have fallen off.
Hi guys, hi guys, hi guys, hi guys. Okay, he's got long hair, so चल ठीक है. Almost there.
No, I feel like our ratios have dropped off a little bit
Yeah.
from what they used
So
to
remove
be.
3 guys and get 4 girls.
That
could be the podcast.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
But if you're transitioning, you're hired.
I'm growing hair tomorrow.
No, but I think while our ratios have fallen off a little bit, I think we're always trying to make sure that they kind of match. I think one of the challenges that we have is that a lot of our work, some of our technician type work, right? There aren't women to hire in those roles. So women.
That's a little scary. Don't say that. As your lawyer, I advise you to stop talking.
No, they don't. Listen, I can look at the applications, right? And I'm based on the applications.
But
when it comes to audio engineers, when it comes to video,
Shreya, your audio engineer?
No, she's a content person.
But deep down, she wants to be an audio engineer, and she's not been appreciated for it.
In the content space, we have lots of women, right? Like Kavita is there, Shreya is there, Amruta is there.
In the intangible content space, the women are there. In the tangible properties where you have proper skill and effort.
I know there's skill in
required.
content, dude. How is it not
I'm getting a very odd feeling about this that we will have to answer in court.
No, I think that I don't think that I'm saying anything which is surprising to anybody. That different genders prefer to. Or rather, at this point in time, we see them in different roles.
It's a minefield.
It's not.
Let's just reverse the card.
Production houses, they have a very
Who the hell are you? You're a 26-year-old boy from Mulund who wants to be a rapper. Don't tell me about gender disparity in India.
They have a very specific call out saying that I need female assistant directors.
So now what we have to do is, we've got one of the
staff.
criticisms we've got and the people watching know is that there are not enough female guests. And
so that
we need
is
to
something
improve that.
It's
something
we
really
should
askew.
improve.
So we have to improve
So
that.
that is
So I
something we
declare
should
25 only females.
But I'll say this also, right? Like as a general thought exercise, I ask everybody should just do this in India when you're out and about in the road.
Count the women.
They
put you in jail.
No, count the number of
1, 2, 3.
Count the number of men before you see a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, you will routinely go over 25, 30, 40. Yeah. So you'll see 40 men before you see a woman. Yeah. This happens like so. It's God. Just we
remind me. I've stopped looking. I look down on it. I don't look up on it.
We live in a culture which is highly misogynistic, where you wind up not seeing women out of the work. Our workplace participation for women is lower than Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Saudi Arabia.
My God.
Right? So, I mean, like, we are one of the worst when it comes to this.
As chairperson of the Malba Hill Mahila Mandal, I'm not feeling good about this at all.
You should not.
There's something missing in our society.
No, you should not.
Take corrective action. Why don't we, instead of having this Women's Day and Man's Day and Dad Day and Mom Day and all, why can't we have a day where men are locked up? And they're only women allowed to walk.
I don't
then we take a video of that.
But Cyrus, just in a more this right, like this number one indicator of a country's growth towards prosperity is women's participation in the workforce. And our country is not going there. We're going in the wrong direction, if anything.
And we at IVM are going to redress that, both in front of the camera as well as behind the camera.
No, we do our best. We absolutely do our best. We try and get as many as we can.
From tomorrow, one of your 3 wives must accompany you to the video recording. Since there are 3 cameras, maybe all 3 wives. And on date 3, you don't come. That's how the revolution starts. There are 4 wives.
IVM and 10.
Someone is prosperous. Okay, we've almost reached the end of the episode. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I think
about your 10-year experience? Not just about Cyrus Says.
No, I mean, it's been great. It's been fun to do this. I'm glad that we
nearly closed down on a couple of occasions. You were on the brink of the precipice. You were near death.
Yeah. I went deep in debt before during the pandemic.
And you couldn't see. When the pandemic came, you were already down. I'm thinking that you said, where did this come from?
Yeah,
now?
and then
it really compounds.
Completely. No, we lost a couple of things that were happening during the pandemic that kind of dropped out. I went into deep personal debt to keep this thing going for another 6 months in that sense. And then we got acquired by Pratilipi, which has been a great experience. Working for a startup which is this kind of interesting and that has so much variety in what they do in the kind of sense and this much vision. So it's been great to be a part of it.
I would like to take this opportunity to ask Pratilipi for some equity. Not much, but little bit. Amit, what do you think? Who do I talk to? Give me names. Give me their pet names.
Okay.
So I can, call them and no one knows who they are.
I do not know.
Like if the pet name is Poo Poo, but it's actually so and so.
I cannot think of any pet names. I cannot think of
what kind of relationship is it where you don't know the pet names of the owners of the company?
It's a really interesting relationship in some ways, right? Because I've been to Bangalore twice or thrice in like the 4 years since we got acquired. We don't, it is very much an online kind of relationship.
They don't own us. We just think they do.
Well, they pay all of our salaries, so I think they do own us.
Who is this Pratilipi? Coming soon.
But next 10 years, where do you see IVM going?
So
AI coming in and all.
So I think AI is interesting in terms of what we can do with it. I think just the different kinds of opportunities that it presents is interesting. I think that we are still going to be in this kind of conversational non-fiction smart space. You want to do good, interesting talk. right? And I think that while we're starting to see that, I think one of the things that I look at very differently from what a lot of other folks do is I think that these kinds of, like Cyrus says, right, like Pesa Vesa, like these kinds of long-standing properties, I think that they are really important for this is how you build institutions, right? You build institutions by going through it and just going through it.
I think let's not put pressure on ourselves. We have no idea what the world is. The world is changing all the time.
But
we're just, let's be positive and hope that these things last. But having said that, and being a politician is doing double speak all the time, I think for me, the next generation is even more custom-made about their entertainment.
Yeah.
When I say custom-made, if Prithvi likes this show, that's all he wants to watch.
Yes.
So we'll have more quality audiences, not necessarily great quantity audiences across the world, where people just zone in on what they like.
So I also,
like you and I like beach volleyball. Females, and that's what we watch.
Right.
You go on basketball to create this avatar of, I like that, but we all know the truth. So I'm saying that you just zero in on what you like, and that's it. So I'm hoping that's what will happen.
I think you'll see more and more of that kind of narrow casting
it is more
rather
like
than
cult
broadcast.
thing, but it's like a lobby that follows just this.
I think of it I think of it like narrow casting rather than broadcasting, right?
Yeah.
Like broadcasting.
Narrow casting.
Yeah, when you're broadcasting,
With
you're trying
Ozempic,
to.
we've come to this narrow casting world. Yeah.
Yeah, with broadcasting, you try to talk to the lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah.
In narrow casting, you talk to the highest common factor, right? Bring back a school lesson.
Very nice.
Right.
On this very scholarly note, I think we should end with the podcast. So, we have a female voice. Oh, good. I hope you can hear, first time in many years, a female voice on the podcast right at the end, which may be edited. Go on, Shreya.
Amit, it's to you. What were your milestones? I'm sure there must have been many, but something that was incredibly memorable.
Oh, wow. I think 1,000 episodes of Cyrus was a big deal.
Well, before that, the first year, the second year.
That way, first year, second year, third year,
by
fourth
the time
year, fifth year.
1,000 episode came, I think you were floating.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
It was a little easier.
I would say first sponsored piece of content that we were able to do. Like,
Which
hey, there's
was?
some money over here.
We got some coffee guys, and I remember
Yeah,
beginning,
we got
small pitches,
small kind of
3
pitches, right?
episodes,
So,
6 episodes,
yeah.
3 months, 6 months.
So
the car we had, what was the car?
Volvo, that was a big one.
Kutto Ke, we had
being
3
a-
coffee companies whose names now I forget.
So I think we had.
Let's call
damn
them
it,
Coffee 1, Coffee 2, and Coffee 3.
No, I'm trying to. I can see the logo in front of my head, but I can't remember the name offhand. Also, no free ads.
Also, getting this big office. First, we had,
So that
we had
was
the
a big
studio.
list,
We were
yes.
working out of the. You were working out of
So
the car.
first was working
you were
out
working
of-
out of a what's it called? That office space thingy.
The
Common
social.
office, and
the-
that common. Thing.
Yeah. So co-working at social,
Co-working.
na? We did the co-working at social, and then after that we got the office with the studio,
Yeah.
and
I
then
get
the
a house
larger
first.
office.
Then here.
Then here.
And now we are. Oh, by the way, guys, as we pull out of the show, we are going to 90. Should I say it?
Yeah,
Nothing
it's
happens.
well. I
But we
mean,
have
like
to go.
I started breaking that place and I started paying for it. So yeah, we are going there.
So we're hoping to have an even bigger studio
Yes.
with even smaller thoughts.
Last year you did Singapore tourism campaign.
That was a fun one.
Yeah,
Going to
is that the
Singapore.
only one we've done? We've done more. Haven't we done
No,
more?
we've done many campaigns, but the idea of you going and doing the podcast
Oh,
somewhere
yeah,
else,
yeah,
that I think
yeah,
was
yeah.
interesting.
It was great. For me, the standout part of Singapore is it is a country which is very disciplined, city-state if you like, great with time and punctuality. And every day I'd ask them for only one thing, what call time, when should I be ready outside the hotel gate? And every day I stood alone.
So, Shreya, just to come back to you, like one big kind of milestone we saw was 100 shows for the overall network, not for Cyrus.
Yeah.
But when we got 100 shows done in 5 years, that felt like, okay, yeah, this is something that we're really, really pushing hard.
Yeah.
So that was a big
That
one.
was, in fact, we got national prominence. We were called to Delhi, and there was a rally. And
Cyrus was making
yeah.
poses with bows and arrows.
Exactly. And I remember there was the Prime Minister, the cabinet, visiting dignitaries, and red carpet. I was in my shorts scratching, making India proud.
But for all the loyal listeners who are there from the first year of IVM and Cyrus Says, there were good segments like Lanso.
Lanso,
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
so orthodox.
Lanso,
Yes.
left arm also orthodox, was fun.
Yes.
We may revive that, you never know.
I think we should
That's a
revive
short cricket thing, which is actually very
Yeah.
tough to do. But once you start talking cricket, if you're two cricket crazy guys like
Then
you
it
are about
goes nuts.
NBA,
Yes.
nothing can be short.
Nothing is short.
You
And
can
it
have an
shouldn't be,
argument
though,
over
also.
it. Yeah. Even
Like, I
Century of Cricket when we do
Century
it.
of-
Once
yeah.
we start talking, actually the biggest part is to remember to make a little brief.
Make a little, yeah,
You
exactly.
just go on and on.
So
I've lost friendships because of cricket, because people who don't like it just disappear. They never
Yeah.
come back.
No, but
girls have walked out on me. Beautiful girls. And I meet a friend and with this guy, "Oh, did you see Sachin bat? Yeah, but one thing, he seems to have a problem also with the off stump. So he used to be a little chat, and Kiran is gone. That's it.
I'm
It's
not
happened so
surprised.
many of-
No, but I mean, like, I mean, I think people are like that about the things that they're really deeply
So I think
into.
again, coming back to our point about narrow casting and all, so then you're a cricket buff, only then you'll listen to that.
Then you'll listen
but
to
there are
that.
enough cricket buffs.
There are enough cricket
But even if
buffs
they
to make
aren't,
it.
we just want the quality audience to come and listen to that. For example, if you're doing a theatre thing, and we're talking about the theatre, or she's Hindustani classical or whatever, there's a discerning audience who's interested in that. So
Right.
let's just stick with that.
No, but I think that
Yeah.
that's the idea is that, right? Like, how do you find a valuable audience that is small, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think that, and this is something that we've tried to do, right, is we don't treat our audience as we don't like to try and treat our, like, if you look at a lot of people who are in the creative space right now, right, they treat their audience as a place to monetize. Right, like, how can I get my audience to pay me money?
Yeah.
Can I sell them this piece of crap, that piece of crap, this piece of crap, that piece of crap? I think the only time that
Did we try?
we did we did merchandise for
We
a
did
little bit,
membership
but it was
also.
very cheap
Yeah, yeah.
merchandise. We did membership, but the membership
They
was
started paying us more than what we asked because they were like, how poor are you guys? Some
no.
bad things
Also,
we pulled out.
I would say the membership thing was also, it was an experiment in, like, more than the membership part of it itself. It was trying to. It was very early in the video audio days, right? And we were trying to understand what is video audience, what is audio audience, and then
just keep that in mind, people. No excuses, but we're the first movers on this. So a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff we do is experimental. And 20 years later, they'll do a paper in Harvard and say, this is what is right, this is what is wrong, this is how it works. Not fair. Yeah. We were the pioneers who set foot in this raw, naked civilization, wearing only a loincloth. And with the mic, by the way, the technicians have to, my God. I mean, how many times have we had, oh, my. Since 1995, 96, when I started working this business, sound people have driven me mad.
yeah,
Because they do all the checking in the world and things never don't work.
yeah.
And this is events, this is TV, this is radio, this is podcasts. And then the irony of, I just can't wrestle Pokati winning the Oscar. I'm like, out of all the departments that I've worked with in India, the one I complain about always is sound. And this guy gets the Oscar, and then I meet him at the visa office in outside America, the American consulate, and he's like, he's changed, he's so happy. He's talking to Wes Anderson on the phone, with his thick Malayali accent. What? Why are you come? And, he's just doing this. I'm like, and Rasul, he used to work with us at MTV. We have to get him on.
Yeah, dude, of
Rasul
course.
is like a bawa. He's absolutely eccentric, out of control, man.
Let's
He's
send me his
mad.
number. We'll go and
Yeah.
we'll call him.
You can see him acting while you're talking, and sometimes I have big people like Amitabh Bachchan and all, I cannot have the periphery disturbing. And suddenly him going like this, so he's suddenly like this, because he's trying to figure out why the balance is not happening. He's snapping his own thing. He's pulling. I mean, how do I concentrate? So we have the sound people are crazy. So we call it. No, we'll call him directly. Rasul, he's gone berserk. He's acting in movies now. We've created a monster. Stop, Rasul. Hello, calling Delhi. Stop, Rasul. Calling Raw, RAW. Can you hear us? We need to get some raw people and some
Well, we should try that.
spy network people.
Spy
we
people.
thought about that. We
Let
all
me
like
think about that.
Yeah.
There are a couple of people I can
But
think of.
they'll have to expose themselves.
No, so we find retired people.
No longer a spy. Huh? No, now. Ajit Doval we can get, not a problem.
Yeah.
It's a personal friend. All right, that's 10 years of us. We're talking rubbish. We were in the beginning, but now it's really like we reached the bottom. We
Yeah, I
can't
think
go
this
worse
is
than
a different level of rubbish.
Amit
yeah.
Doshi enjoys 10 years of Cyrus Says and 10 years also of the IVM. It's almost
this was the
2 weeks apart, 1 week.
I mean, it's
3
the
weeks.
same thing, right? Like, basically, this was the first show.
Yeah.
So 10 years of
But you
this is
registered your
changed now.
company a few days
No,
before
so
that.
Company registration is in July. I
So I'm a bastard. You
you-
the
yeah,
child is
yeah,
born and
dude,
then
you are
bro,
on-
that's not right.
My-
Apna Sanskrit aur parampara ye nahi chalega.
My personal
Ah.
HDFC bank account has
I
you as a
am
payee.
harami. Or as we say in French, harami.
My personal HDFC bank account has you as a payee. Because the first couple of payments I made to you, I made out of my personal account, not out of a company
Okay, so
account.
this is not good, bro. I'm an illegitimate child. July it happened. Yeah, the shadi happened much later.
No,
I was invited to the shadi. How embarrassing is that? Mummy, daddy, मैं आ गया.
No, so India is weird, right? Like, so you can start
Don't
a
say that.
No, you
They'll
can
take it out of context.
It's
Our rival broadcaster will keep only this. India is weird. Amit Doshi.
That's true.
And I'll get off. Like, what a
You-
good guy. He never said anything. Jai Hind!
You can start a company as a proprietorship, which is basically a personal company that one person starts. So that's what it started. And then
Isn't
after
that
that-
India?
Well, yeah, kind of. I think a good
here.
stop to stop.
Let's stop. Don't cross the Lakshman Rekha. Just keep our legs behind the line. Yeah. Don't force them to clap. This is like a, oh my God, this is like my comedy show where somebody says, please laugh. What the hell? What are you saying?
Cyrus says every time, Cyrus says, जब ये कहे तुम सुनो, please.
तमीज से बात करना है ना, important people यार.